Shabbat Shalom, family.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
I want to say Shabbat Shalom to everybody who is tuned in or who will be tuned in. We say Shalom Shalom to everybody. We ask for y'all forgiveness for our absence the last 2 weeks. But hopefully this will make up for the weeks we missed. Please make sure y'all like, subscribe, and comment on the videos as we're trying to make sure we get the message out to the people, especially in these times, these days, where at some point this stuff will shut down and all we're going to have is Yah's word that's supposed to be within us. So hallelujah to that. What else? Any announcements? We got any announcements? No announcement? Yeah. Gang. Also, anybody, let me put that up there real quick. If anybody is interested in immersions, we are doing it still. I know we've had me and Sardai have had people who have reached out from to and fro about immersions. We are still doing them. And it's actually the perfect season, especially in Georgia right now, this hot weather, to do them. We do it in live water. So if y'all are interested, make sure y'all email us at the email that's going across the screen. If you are interested in keeping any feasts with us, which we do have the feast coming up beginning in September. Make sure y'all email us so we can actually take account of those who are interested and we can give you any details of what you possibly need to do going forward. So with that being said, let's get started with the live. Today's lesson is actually going to be going over the revelation of Gimel. The revelation of Gimel. We've been going over the revelation of Aleph. We've been going over revelation of Beit. So if y'all haven't seen those, make sure y'all go check them out. We do have an actual folder on the website, on our website, but on the YouTube channel for it. So make sure that you all are going back and replaying the videos so y'all can catch up on the lessons. So this lesson we'll be going over the third Aleph Bet, which is Gimel. Okay. So before we get started, I want to go over something so everybody can see. So let me start sharing my screen first. I wanted to go over this real quick. And it will be going into the actual lesson. Everybody can see that? Let me see something real quick. Everybody see it? I know it's probably small right now. Well, I ain't gonna read the whole thing, so it don't even matter. Yeah, it's. I'm not about to read the whole thing either. It's just certain components I wanted to read. So, if y'all remember, when we were doing the series, that's crazy, almost 4 years ago now. Actually, it's 4 years ago. The biblical marriage. This is actually one of the sources I used. That's somewhat relevant to our culture. Now, there are certain things in here that's not relevant to the Hebraic culture. But there is a principle that most, if not all, rites of passage follows, and that's to build a person's character and personality that's going to go towards the benefit of the community. And that's the whole point of everything we do, right? But we know on a bigger scale, that we should be building up character and personality for what? On a bigger scale. Now we got our community, right? We got the Hebraic culture, but all this is supposed to be reflective of what though? The kingdom. So we're also supposed to go through a rites of passage, even in the spirit, to be a service to Yah's kingdom. You can't just because you're born in the bloodline or you say you believe in Yah and Yahushua that you automatically become a good servant to the kingdom. No, there actually is no different. Believe it or not, when you go through a job and you go through training, believe it or not, that is actually a rites of passage. They're training you on how to do the job. And they actually, and for most jobs, especially corporate jobs, they actually test you at the end of training to make sure that you're fit for the position. Because even after you got hired and they paid you and everything, at the end of training, if you're not fit, they'll still fire you. So just because they initially gave you the job at first and you started training doesn't mean you actually got the job. See, that's what you learn from experience. But it's supposed to be in a place to prepare you, and they'll pay you for your time. But if you're not producing or showing promise, by the time the training is over, they'll cut you. I've been an example of that before. And it don't feel good, but I don't put all this time in. But if you're not yielding or producing the right fruit they need, then guess what? They got to cut you off at the root of that branch. So there's many different, some people call it training, some people call it boot camp. But believe it or not, it's nothing but rites of passage. There's certain passages or phases or trainings or processing that you got to go through to be fit for any job. And so on a natural level, we go through something called Torah studies, right? To prepare us for the bigger picture of serving the heavenly kingdom that is unseen. You see what I'm saying? So I wanted to bring this up and read a little bit of this because it's going to make sense of why Gimel is actually very revolved around the rites of passage. So it says this: there are 5 major initiation rites which are fundamental to human growth and development. I want y'all to keep in mind. There are 5 major initiation rites which are fundamental. This is where you learn the fundamentals on human growth and development. We can talk about this on the science level. We can talk about this on a cultural level, a natural level, spiritual level. But everything, even down to the cells in your body, must go through a human growth and development so it's fit to process and work how it needs to. It says these rites were originally established by African ancestors while they were living in order to link the individual to the community. Y'all see that? The purpose of the rites was not just to get you prepared for the world. And the problem that we have as a Black community is because we don't have this, we think that our skills are supposed to benefit everybody. But it really initially first is supposed to benefit your community. This is the reason why the Chinese or the Arabs or the white man, they set up stores and things, and establishment in your neighborhood, because believe it or not, that's a mechanism to make sure that you don't start establishing those things. Therefore, you won't need anything from them. So they set up these things so you can be in one of all things from them. That's why when you look at these societies, these communities dealing with the Black people, once these people leave, that actual neighborhood is in a detriment. They damn near in the desert at that point. And a lot of the time, that's what they call your projects. That's where the crime rate pick up. That's where child molestation pick up, rape, murder, theft, all that starts to pick up once them people leave, or even while they're there, but it picks up a lot worse once they leave. Because when it came to our community, and we can actually see this in the Torah, we were supposed to be a sovereign people. Why? Because our God is sovereign. We read that in the Psalms. We're going to go through that too. He said, I am sovereign because you are sovereign. You see what I'm saying? So we will always put, and anybody know what sovereign? I just want to make sure. Who knows what sovereign means besides Elder? Huh? No, not really the definition, but it goes hand in hand, yes.
Independent, more like independent.
I wouldn't even use that word, independent.
It's like sustaining. Like,
I know you gotta use that's like the government. You use that term like the government, like sovereign right or.
Yeah, to a degree. What about you, Al? You know? And y'all just know what sovereign means, to have sovereignty? It basically means to be self-reliant. But Israel has never been self-reliant. We've always been, I like this word somebody use, interdependent. We depended on our Elohim, while at the same time we depended on each other. that's always been us. We always had a king. We were the only people who had an unseen king. Put it that way. All other nations had a king, whether that be in the natural, like a human, or they used the idol. But Israel had an unseen king when they were supposed to actually represent that king in his absence. Y'all follow me? So in our culture, there are certain rites of passage that you must go through to be able to sustain and uphold Torah, even in the midst of strangers who may want to come in and see. Y'all follow me? So it says, the community to the broader and more potent spiritual world. You see that? So even when these certain African cultures, they use rites of passage, yes, for the natural, but that was only reflective of their spirituality. So it says, initiation rites are a natural and necessary part of community. I agree. As an arm and leg, natural necessary extension of the human body. So what they're saying in this article is a rites of passage is just as important as your right arm. Why? Because the whole point of the rites of passage is to further the community, to build the community, to go from a family that builds up to a tribe, that builds up to a nation, and ultimately builds up to a kingdom. There's many different components, and each one is a different phase. You can't talk about tribalism if you're not into familyism. You can't talk about nationalism if you're not into tribalism. And you damn sure can't talk about nationalism if you're not talking about the kingdom. Every component or every phase is supposed to go towards the kingdom. Every phase.
Can I add to that?
Please.
Everybody gonna be able to hear me. But the thing is actually the rites of passage is what you're doing is taking that child, that man child, from the womb of the father's house into the womb and into the community.
Yes.
Right? So you're taking that individual man child or those group of man children, and they're coming out of the womb of the house of a father and a mother. Now, once they go through this rites of passage, now they're being introduced as a part of the tribe or the community, as a part of its son.
Yep.
Now
Yes.
it's becoming the tribe's son.
Yes.
To
Yes.
serve the tribe.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
And to add to, and this goes further into, in each passage you had a guide. You could not go into these phases without somebody guiding you. And I'm saying that because somewhere in Israel, we have picked up this thing of individuality and think that we have direct access to the Father. He has never put up an institution where it was like that. Now, there was individuals who want, and we're going to go and you're going to see those individuals who had direct access, those were the ones who started to walk with Yah. Those were the ones who actually became his beloved friend. How many times have you seen those, it said, for every man walk with Yah?
One.
Nope. He was one, but it was the first one we saw was who?
Adam.
Nope. Although, yes, in an instance, obviously, but Enoch.
I didn't know. Yeah.
Enoch.
Yeah, it was.
He was the first recorded case where it was a testimony. If you actually go into the historical records, this is actually the people testifying to him. He was testified to actually walk with Yah. Then we see Abraham who walked with Yah. Then we see Yaakov who fought and was blessed by Yah to the point he walked with Yah, which is why we say the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Then we have the prophets who walk with Yah. Then we see Yeshua who walked with Yah. And if you actually pay attention to every person in our name, they reached a level of maturity to be able to walk with Yah. Now, the reason I had y'all do that exercise that y'all did, right? The first position y'all started was what? Side by side, right? And if somebody was in front of you or if somebody was in back of you, it caused what? Tension. Now, I'm going to ask y'all a question. What's the actual official position in Israel? Well, yeah. What's the official position we got?
Was it to be? You mean like actual?
I would say that's an attribute.
The present state.
Yes. What we're called to be. Let me say that. No, in Yah.
It was priesthood. So he is.
What is, let me ask you this. Do you make a contract with your son?
Unofficially, yes.
I'm talking about official.
Should be yes. Do we know?
Have you seen somebody make a contract in the scriptures with their son? Who?
Abraham, Isaac.
They made a contract. I would say this, right? I'm not actually disagreeing with you, but I would say more so a wife. You make a contract with a wife. This is what, because this comes with terms and conditions. The foundation is laid. If you do this, this is what I give you. If you don't do this, this is what may happen. And to a degree, you have more of a right to divorce her and your children, because your children, regardless, whatever they do, they always gonna carry your name.
Right.
But a wife can lose that name. She's the only one that can actually lose that name. Children and sons and daughters, they can go and do whatever, but they name you with me? Right. Would you say a servant and a son have the same position?
No.
What about children and a man's wife? They have the same position.
Children and a man's wife?
No.
No.
I'm getting to a point. Just follow me. When we go through here, and I'm saying this right because I believe Echadmalkut, we in the spirit of understanding that nationality is not the end all be all, right? But it serves a major purpose in the whole so-called scheme of things in Yah's design. And I'm bringing that to remembrance for us because I don't want us to get so caught up in pushing that to the side that we forget the purpose that actually comes with that title that Yah has given us. You follow me? Because there's a difference between being led and walking with Yah. Because being led, you got to follow all things. And believe it or not, they're synonymous. But the difference between the two is a servant has no right to question. But a wife, she can. She has the right to question and ask things. How do we see this? We see this with who? Abraham. Right? We see this with Ezra. We see those who fully assimilated with Yah, they started to get certain accesses either other parts of Israel couldn't or the world could not. And why is that important? Because dealing with the Gimel, we're going to understand that this is all about walking with Yah to the point that he does not have to be there and drag you every step of the way. Y'all follow me? So going back to the article, let's see. It says these rights are critical to individuals and community development, and it should not be taken for granted that people automatically grow and develop into responsibility. Which means what? Is it the children's responsibility to make sure they integrate with the community? Whose responsibility is that? So that means we actually all are responsible. Therefore, we all must work together for the betterment of Yah's kingdom. Because that's the whole point of this, right? So it says, it should not be taken for granted that people automatically grow and develop into responsible, community-oriented adults. The process of initiation concerns undergoing a fundamental set of rites to start a new phase or beginning in life. So how many phases does a man go through? What's the phase a man go through? He's also obviously born, right? What's the phase after that? Huh? So he's weaned from the breast. What else? He starts to integrate to be what? A man, right? Then from a man, he learns how to be a what? Husband. From a husband, he didn't learn how to be what? A father. Then he learned how to what? Be a what? Leader. Then a what? Elder. That's 7 stages that he has to go through in his life to be a complete man. Y'all follow me? And you cannot skip steps, because we actually see the results of men in this society who skip those steps, right? Emotional, don't know how to make decisions, dangerous to himself in his community. He doesn't know how to produce natural, spiritual, or even psychological fruit. A lot of men are going to jail, killing their own brother. So he's unstable, right? And if you go back to every person who has been in jail, who has gotten killed, you will find that somehow, and it's not always their fault, but somehow they skip steps. It's the same thing for women too. And that's how you know that this society was perfectly made to keep us divided. And that was the point also of that, because when you skip steps, believe it or not, you become a danger to the community you're supposed to be a service to. Whether that be in a tribal setting like this, whether that be outside in the community, you become a danger when you don't go through the proper human and spiritual development that you need to go through to be of use to your community. Understand? No different than the man who had a talent and buried it. If you knew your master, why didn't you use the talent? Because the reality is, I guarantee, if we go deep into the story, he probably skipped steps. So it says, and marks the passage from one phase in life, the next more mature phase. Initiation fundamentally has to do with transformation. It has been a central component of traditional African cultures since time immemorial. The details of the rites vary among the different societies, is what I was saying. Our rites of passage was slightly different than a lot of different African cultures. Now, you can read about some of these rites of passage in the Dead Sea Scrolls. I think it's called the Society Rules or something like that. It says initiation fundamentally has to do with transformation. Has been read that part. It says, but these rites are nevertheless basic components of the society, right? As they help guide the person from one stage in life to the next, of one's life and development. That is from birth to death and beyond. So it goes through the different ones. But I just wanted to get into that real quick so y'all can actually get into the different components. Oh, okay. So, hold on now. So let's get to it. So now, anybody got any questions so far? Any questions? Not good? So we already went through the Aleph, right? Aleph meaning on a summary rise, it means leader, right? Teacher, one who guides. We got the Beit, right? That means a house or inn, understanding that it must be developed, and it must be, in order for it to be a house, it must be something that is able to be eaten off of or be able to feed other people, right? So now we're going to go into Gimel. So the revelation of Gimel. I want to shout out Ishan. This is, I don't want to take no credit for drawing. This is his drawing for the Year of the Branches brand that he has. Beautiful picture, by the way. So this is the Gimel, right? So it says this: the origins of and meaning of Gimel. Now the pictograph is actually just a foot. That foot represents to walk or to gather. It says history and reconstruction. The earliest known pictograph for this letter is a foot, and this foot look like it's in motion. Y'all can see that, right? Yeah. All right. And is a picture of a foot. The modern Hebrew name for this letter is Gimel. It is an adopted root. The original name to this letter is most likely Gam. And you'll actually see this if you actually really went into the Arabic or you went into the Greek. This is where they get the name Gamma from. And as y'all know, really Hebrew is the father of all languages, from Greek to Latin to even Persian to Arabic to Aramaic. What else am I missing? English. I think that's about it. So it says this letter is the origin of the Arabic letter Gim and the Greek letter Gamma, supporting the theory that the original letter did not include the L. So originally it was not Gimel, it was Gam. It says the word Gam means to gather or to gather together as a group of animals gathering at the water hole to drink. I'll say it again. Gam actually represents to gather together as animals gathering around a water hole to drink. It says the pictograph script for the word Gam is the Gimel and it's also the Mem. The Gimel is the foot representing to walk, and the Mem is the water. See the letter Mem. When you combine these letters, it means to walk to the water. Walk to the water. Now there's a reason that we made the song "Wade in the Water." That's a whole nother conversation. See, when you actually even go into some of the songs, when people this the irony of those who try to deny us being Israelites. You can't even you can't even speak on slavery without going to the slave songs. And most, if not all, the slave songs mentioning us being Israel, mentioning the River Jordan, mentioning waiting on the chariots, mentioning waiting on the Messiah. So to say that these are just things that we learned in slavery and just start picking up. We were singing these songs when we got on the boats that we later carried over into the slave plantations. So it says, the letter Gimel has the meaning of walk, carry, or gather. The sound associated with the letter is a g, as in go. So this was a source from Jeff Bennett from his ancient Hebrew lexicon. So now let's break down Gimel and its root. So the letters that make up Gimel, which is Gimel, which means to walk, and I want y'all to really remember these. It means to walk, gather, or it means together. Then you have Yod, which means work, throw, guide, praise, to lead. Then you have Mem, which means water, chaos, blood, spirit, mighty. Then you have Lamed, give me Psalms 23. Then you have Lamed, which means staff, to lead, correct, to yoke, to bind, or move forward. Now, remember, this is a concrete language and a concrete culture. So these are when you talked about Gimel, you understood the character of a person. You understood. So when you actually, this is actually the name of what a camel is. So if you know the nature of a camel, this is very, very relative to how we're supposed to walk with Yah, right? Even in the mist or the valley of the shadow of death, right? We understood who's the one guiding us. Hallelujah. So Psalms 23. So this is the essence of Gimel. Perfect example. Go ahead.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 23, starting at verse 1. The Lord is my shepherd.
Okay, we got Lamed. Come on.
I shall not want.
Mm-hmm.
He maketh me to lie down in green pastures.
Right.
He leadeth me beside the still water.
Yo.
He restoreth my soul.
Uh-huh.
He leadeth me in the path of righteousness for his name's sake.
Gimel. Come on.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff,
Lamed,
they comfort me.
Come on.
Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies.
Yo.
Thou anointest my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever.
And that's pretty much Gimel summed up. This is actually how we supposed to be with Yah. If we're to walk with Yah, if he's the one gathering us, if he's the one who's guiding us, and if he's the one by his spirit leading us, that means we should have no fear of any type of evil. That means we should be able to be in the desert. We should be able to be in a famine. We should be able to be in the midst of chaos and still have comfort in knowing that Yah is our shepherd, because it is his rod and his staff that what? Comforts us. Y'all follow me? I'm telling y'all, when we go through all this, you're going to realize Messiah been there the whole time. I'm not saying Hebrew is salvation, but what I will say is I believe that getting a greater understanding helps your salvation. I believe it gives you a more concrete version of how you should be obedient to Yah. That's what we're talking about, right? I believe it gives you a more concrete, because the reality is when you transfer something to English, it does not translate all the way. So you can get a misdirection on what that word meant if it's not in its proper context. You see what I'm saying? One word can change the whole context of something. You could just be thinking it means something else, but the whole time it says something totally different. Something totally different. So, with that being said, let's continue. Now, let's get to the breakdown. So it said the next thing I would like to dive into is really the root of Gimel, which is God. It is in the root that we will find the sole purpose, intent, and environmental construct to have been so important to Yahweh. To the intent function was to have the Hebraic Israelite culture to be viewed as an ensample of what it looked like to walk with God. That was the actual whole purpose of our culture. It was to be an ensample, as Gad said, supposed to be a light to how man was supposed to actually walk with Yah and have power between Yah and man. That was the whole purpose of the culture. It wasn't to idolize wood and stone. It wasn't to get into these different postures and positions to dig deep and find yourself and higher self. It wasn't about that. It was all about being an ensample of what really Yah's kingdom on earth looked like. But of course, because Israel could not remove the leaven, they could not remove the nations that was surrounded by them, they failed to creation rather than being submitted to the Creator. Y'all follow me? So it says this. The root word and meaning of God. The surface means carry, together, and to gather. The root meaning is one who has developed completely and matured. I'm going to say it again. So if that means Gimel means to walk or to walk with, when you look at the root of Gimel, which is God, only one who is fully developed and completely matured is able to walk with Yah. I'm telling y'all, the Hebraic culture is so concrete. If you really, really understand it, you will realize how far, as an Israelite people, we're far away from it. We have a lot, and I say this boldly, and I believe Yah has given me access to say this confidently. We have a lot of underdeveloped leaders in Israel. We have a lot of underdeveloped leaders. And I'm not exempting myself either. When I look at this culture, it convicts me too. Thought I got somewhere. I got a lot of work to do. Because when you really look at what a real Hebrew man is, Abri, when you really look at it, bro, we might as well not call ourselves these names right now. Because to really cross over means you have completely died from the old man. Who has completely died in this room from the old man? Raise your hand. Be honest. Who has completely died from the old man? But that's being real. That's being honest. Because to say you completely left Egypt behind, meaning you're in agreement to actually go through this wilderness with Yah. Please.
Using the camel as the pictographic example is one who's mature to carry the burden.
Yep. Well, we're gonna get to that too. Because that's a good. I'm glad you get into my lesson now, man. Hey, why you get into my lesson like that, man? No, but that's unreal because there's a lot of underdeveloped men taking on families that they can't carry the burden. You having children that you're not even knowing what to do with them. You taking on a wife, not really in a position to actually be eaten off of. And we wonder why we starting to see a high rate of even divorce in Israel. When does that happen? When does that happen? We supposed to be a light of marriage. We supposed to be a light of what tribalism is, nationalism is. We always talking about black nationalism. Ain't nobody a goddamn nationalist. Nobody. Not in the black power community, not in the Israelite community. If I had to give anybody that, if I had to, anybody who close, I have to give it to Islam. I have to. I have to. Unfortunately, and I say unfortunately because the reality is Islam is nothing but what? A duplicate of the Israelite culture. So I feel a little bit comfortable giving it to them because I'm. Huh?
They're not the prototype.
No, they're not the prototype, but they're the closest thing of what we should start making our way to. Yeah, I can't vouch for the suits and the bow tie and the slick hair. I can't vouch for that. But I can vouch for the structure. I can vouch for the discipline. I can vouch for the devotion and commitment they have to one another through the El, well, they say Allah, but we know that's Elah in Hebrew, right? That they're trying to serve a power. And that is that power that they believe they serve that unites them. Ooh, you can tell, right? Is that true?
So you're just not going to see the discombobulation that you see in Israel.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to see it.
Right. They always say I ain't gonna say that. I'm doing all that. I'm doing that, right? They say it every 5 minutes. Israel get to the point we don't even say all praise to the Most High. We say all praise to who? To who?
That's just laziness. That's lazy.
But that's show you the nature of Israel right now. We're lazy people. We don't want to put the real work in with our wives. We don't want to put the real work in with our children. We don't want to put the real work in with our brothers and sisters. And we see why we are becoming, believe it or not, unfortunately, we're becoming the laughing stock of religion and of culturalism as far as in the black community. I mean, the only thing that you will really hear a good report about, for the most part, we stand up for our people. Yeah, that's about it.
Not each other.
Not each other, for our people.
But for the underweight.
Yeah, they'll say that. That's the first to go. They don't mention no institutions. They don't mention no some type of sovereignty. They don't mention nothing. Except that we stand up for our people. What good is that if when they coming into a burning house? So today we're gonna really understand what it means to walk with Yah, and we get to measure ourselves. And have I really been walking with Yah, or have he been pulling me by my collar like this the whole time? So it says the root meaning is one who has developed completely and matured. He who has been weaned. That's the passage. He who is ripened fruit, able to be eaten off of, completely nourished, one who is able to provide but also deny sustenance. Who we see this from? Come on, let's see. We've been reading Torah. Who do we actually see this from? This example. Abraham. He was a rich man. Then I forgot the name of it, but they wanted to give him land for his family. He said, for free. It's on us. He said, no, I'm good. Because if I do that, somehow you're gonna say I owe you. Some of us love gifts, but we know the scriptures say what? Gift destroys the what? The heart. It perverts judgment.
He even allowed Lot too to take the whatever part of the land you want.
Pick what you gonna do. You're not gonna say I owe you or I did you wrong. We ain't gonna do none of that. A gift destroys the heart. It perverted your judgment. We see this because the Pharisees decided they constantly took gifts. Or we see Eli's children taking gifts. You see what I'm saying? Perverting the temple. But a man who's been weaned from the milk, a man who is matured in Yah understands that all things given to him only must come from who? Yah. Scripture say what? Oh no man, what? Nothing but love. That's all you owe. And that love is you're willing to walk with that man till he gets to his destination. So, Hebrews 5 and 8. Because one thing I see Israel, we get prideful in knowing who we are. We got people who get prideful in these deep mystic books. We got people who get prideful just wearing garments. But believe it or not, to even that degree, those are really meaty matters. Because all those things are actually supposed to reflect your inner man. It's supposed to reflect your spirit man. So we putting on royal garments with filthy spirits. Did y'all know the fringe not only supposed to represent remembering the commandments, but it's actually at the root of it actually means hanging fruit. So when it said that they held at the hem of the garment, that means they were able to pluck fruit off his garment spiritually. Can somebody hang on any of y'all fringes and actually pick fruit from it? I'm telling y'all, it's very important to understand the culture and language because it will actually put, if you got a contrite in spirit, it will put you in your place of where you really are. On the priest. Yeah, it will walk around with bells and pomegranates at the bottom of their garment. And if you actually look at how many seeds in the pomegranate, yeah. And if you actually see how many seeds on average is in pomegranate, 613.
Dang, 600.
Pomegranate?
No, in the pomegranate, the average amount of seeds is 613.
Like 613.
Yeah. So now you understood then burden, right? Because it said the burden shall rest on the shoulders of the priests. So if we're supposed to be a kingdom of priests, that means the burdens of the world really supposed to be on who? Are we mature yet to do that? But we want reparations. We want Yah's kingdom to come. If he came right now, he probably wipe us all out. He would have to. So now when it said that you should not be wearing strange garments, do you look the part? Do you feel and act the part? Not even act. I hate the word act because act I feel like it's fake. Are you living the part? We got to start really looking at what this said. At that point, you're like, I don't even want to say a word no more. I don't even want to teach no more like this. Because you realize, dang, now I'm too far. I'm way too far to even be in this position. But that shows you how much mercy he has. Because somebody got to rise up against the evildoers. Somebody got to be an ensample to the nation before the king gets back. He got to look at many Yeshuas in the earth. And when I say Yeshua, I don't mean as him. I mean that carries his image. He got to be able to see that. Let's go.
This is the book of Hebrews, chapter 5, starting in verse 8. Though he were a son, yet learned he obedience by the things which he suffered.
He learned what? Obedience by how? Long suffering. So we learn obedience through our trials, but a lot of us like to run away from the trial. A lot of us want to try to make our own way so we won't have to deal with the trial. But you're not realizing, all of us, we have skipped steps, and it's not your fault all the time. It's on your parents and then their parents. But the onus is on you once you realize you skip steps. You have to go through long suffering, and really the long suffering is to get the disobedience out you. That's really that's fighting against Yah. It's not you. It's the disobedience in you. So he got to wean that. You got to go through some trials and some errors and some processing. So when it is time to be that image and likeness, that old man is done. He's not even in existence anymore. Even the baptism is a rites of passage. It's a ritual. And I learned something even new about that history. Because tell me honest, technically, elders are supposed to baptize all of us. He's supposed to baptize all of us. Well, for the most part, actually, everybody probably said me. Because once you say you're in agreement with a teacher, the baptism, when you look historically, represented now you're coming under that teaching. Because the water represents you washed away anything you learned before, anything you thought you knew before, and saying, now you going to teach me.
And because you become born again, you're in a new world. You're in a new
Yes.
world. And you come in the womb of a new, you actually being formed in a new womb. And that water, of course, when water breaks, you come out of that water and you become a new creature.
Yes.
Being born again.
Yes. Therefore, that's why I said it should only be one teacher to a what? 1,000. So I'm so thankful that me and you had set the precedence in the beginning. Stop watching YouTube. Don't be on that. And it's not to say that we trying to sit here and cover y'all from y'all. It's not the case. But you ain't supposed to have multiple daddies. You ain't supposed to have multiple mamas. Remember Dr. Doolittle at the end, and little Liz, mama? Oh, he looking around, mama. He looking for his mama. You're not supposed to be like that. Once you were immersed, whether that be spiritually or naturally, you're only supposed to be fed by this man. But what was the thing about those who got baptized? They were already witness of that man's fruit. They were already witness of that. So when people got baptized by John, he was so great, they thought he was the Messiah. So that tells you how great he is, because he was carrying the image without actually being the person. He didn't take the glory, did he? But his works were so good, he reflected his what? Master. Before he even met him. Prepared the way. Prepared the way. So he showed the naturalness of what spiritually we should be getting. You see that? That's why I said with him, elder, he showed us the natural of what we should be getting in the spiritual. Because he understands, we all understand who's the ultimate master, chief shepherd. And this all has to do with Gimel. I promise y'all, we're going to get to the point, but it all has to do with Gimel. It has to do with walking with y'all. Come on.
Verse 9. And being made perfect, he became the author of eternal salvation unto all them that obey him.
Anybody know what author is? The author, right? What is an author? Writes the story. He gives the inscription on each character. He gives the inscription of each character on how they play a role in the bigger scheme of things. And what we'll see is that there's only one way into this eternal salvation. And it's only one person who can actually write the script for you to get that salvation. You cannot rewrite the script. You cannot reinvent the wheel.
There's many ways to God.
There are many ways to God. That's what they say, right? No, there's only one way. There's only one way, and it's crazy because he was his word, right? And what's the word in Hebrew? The bar, right? But what, as far as the word is the Bible, right? The five books is called what? Torah. Anybody know what Torah means at the root? It means actually the instructed journey. The instructed journey. So everything was actually already laid out for you. All you got to do is this. Walk the straight and narrow. There's actually nothing you have to do. You don't have to figure out nothing. See, it's not necessarily he called us dumb sheep because we were literally dumb, although we are dumb. But the essence of it was to show that you only supposed to follow one way, one person, and one thing. One voice. So when we hear, and listen to what I'm saying when I say this, when we hear Elder Adai, we should be hearing who? Yeshua. You understand what I'm saying? When I say I don't mean he is Yeshua. I'm not saying that. But he should not be saying anything different than his master. I had to make sure I put that, people, oh, he's saying it. No, I'm not saying yes. I'm not saying that at all.
There's a lot of leaders that take that glory.
Right, it is. People call themselves John the Baptist, King David reincarnated, Moses, the Comforter. People trying to take all them glories.
He was riding horses while he rode.
Right. They making up their own holy kingdom garments now. But the point is this, is that if somebody is leading you, they should never, ever, ever be saying anything different than the master. Anybody ever wonder why Paul, when he baptized in his name? Was he really baptizing in his name? What was he doing? Woo! Now that's deep. Why is that deep? Because you had to be already tethered or bound to even have that type of privilege. You understand what I'm saying? To the point we see Leah and Rachel being named. It was Leah and Rachel who became famous. So we even see that wives get glory too when they actually lift up their husband. They actually are pillars. Paul was in representation of that he's able to be named like that. When people talk about Paul, that man Paul was deep. I'm telling you, if you don't read it in chronological order of his story, you're going to get confused. And I say confused because most people reading his letters are not spiritually mature. They're not. A lot of us are still carnal. And I don't mean carnal like you're just doing something bad, but a lot of us are still in the natural flesh and haven't been able to see beyond that. We're still trying to set up temples when we are the temple. We're trying to reincarnate the menorah when we are the menorah. We sit here trying to make the royal curtains when we're everything. The whole point was actually to represent us and how we're supposed to be those parts of the house for Yah's glory to dwell in. So when somebody's able to clip on your garment, Yaakov, they're coming in the house to see Yah, not you, but because you represent his house. But only those who walk with Yah have that type of access. So y'all, when y'all felt that tension, were y'all walking together? Were y'all in alignment? Guess what? That's how Yah is with us. He trying to do this, and you like this. You pull him. You standing like this. Yaakov's like over there like this. That's how he is in the spirit with Yah. Somebody pulling. He like this. We like this. Wow, I'm gonna stay right here in my carnal nature. I'm gonna stay right here in my flesh. But it was only those who was able to walk with Yah that got certain access. And when they was fulfilled in that wifely role or fulfilled their wifely duties, there'd be 10 righteous in the city. Can you spare them? And keep in mind, he actually speaking for the unrighteous too.
Right.
Because the thing that because they were righteous in the city, it gave mercy and grace to the unrighteous.
And then he had the power to make petition.
Woo!
Moses, the same thing. Because if it weren't for Moses, he would have wiped them all out and started over with Moses.
Yah is trying to show us how to be a Moses, how to be a Yeshua, in the essence of letting his word be in us. That's what I'm not saying nothing different than the man. If I be in my Father, those who believe in me shall also be with me. I'm not saying nothing different, am I? He's trying to show you how to carry the anointing on the earth. But the only way you get that is stop resisting, stop causing tension, stop causing division with your master. Because although I was doing this illustration and you doing this, you're not holding him back. Because he can make these stones even in the seed of Abraham. Because what was he trying to show them? That is not necessarily about your nationality, but it's about the purpose of your nationality and why you're here. Keep reading.
Verse 10. Called of God, a high priest after the order of Melchizedek.
Right. And Melchizedek means my king of righteousness. Come on. So we understand who the high priest in our kingdom is, right? We understand who the king is of our kingdom, right? Come on.
Of whom we have many things to say, and hard to be uttered, seeing ye are dull of hearing.
So is it things that's hard is because you have dull ears? Woo-wee. Come on.
For when for the time ye ought to be teachers, ye have need that one teach you again, which be the first principles of the oracles of God.
So we got those who ought to be teachers, right? But shoot, even those teachers, those mores or Maureen, still need to be taught the first principles of Yah.
What was that book addressed to?
Who-wee.
The Hebrews.
The Hebrews. The Hebrews. Going right back.
That book is joking back on milk.
And here's the thing. It's actually okay. Because every teacher, and I'm really understanding this, right? Every teacher need a revitalization period. They need to get recharged again. Why do you think Aaron was actually supposed to be there with Moses? Because when he needed to go sit with the king for a time, Aaron was supposed to be able to intercede and be him while he's gone. Because who was supposed to be the prophet? Who was supposed to be the God amongst the people? Come on, man. It's not, and I'm not getting to the spookism or trying to compare us to Elohim. I'm not doing that. All I'm doing is when you walk with Yah, you become part of Yah, therefore you represent Yah. That's it. Ain't no spookism, ain't no, oh, we are the gods, and you know, none of that. I'm not talking about that when you're a God to yourself. I'm not talking about that. You are Elohim on earth. But if we talk about the Elohim, that Elohim actually served for the betterment of humanity. That Elohim actually is of service and not to himself. Oh my goodness. Not to himself. Because he couldn't swear no higher but to what? His word. So even he is in obedience to his what? Word. Yeah. Come on.
And are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat.
Right.
For everyone that uses milk is unskillful.
So we can say another word for unskillful in the word is what? Being what? Uncircumcised. If you still need milk, you're still breaking the Sabbath. You still fornicate. You still serving other Elohim. You still masturbate. You still doing things you should not do. You are still unskillful in the word of righteousness. Therefore, you are the one who is of need of milk, and you should not be entangling or trying to eat of strong meat. Why? Because if you eat the meat before you're supposed to, as a babe, you can what? Choke. Choke. That was one of the main things when we started this. Like, bro, you got it. Y'all go up there. Hey, bro, can you even tell me the 10 Commandments? You know the crazy thing, if you actually ask people, hey, run me the 10 Commandments in order. I ain't just talking about Christians. I'm talking about Hebrews too. Hey, what's the 10 Commandments in order? Where your fringes at, y'all? You know what I'm saying? What's the 10 Commandments? That's first week's breast milk right there. You know what I'm saying? Do you keep the Sabbath day in this order? That's 6 months breast milk right there. And technically, how long should you be on the breast? 3 years. Give or take 3 to 5 years. Technically, if you want to really look, it's supposed to be 3 to 5 years. Because at 5 years, if you look in Hebraic culture, that's when you were really supposed to get them off the breast and really start teaching your child Torah. From the ages of 5 to 12 years old. We're going to get to that too. Keep going. So read verse 13 again.
Verse 13. For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe.
For he is a what?
He is a babe.
Come on.
But strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age.
Now I want you to read that verse again, but put mature or complete for full age. Read again.
But strong meat belongeth to them that are mature.
See that? So you want to get into the deep things of Enoch and these deep spiritual things of the kingdom. That is only for those who are mature. I'm not talking about you. No, I'm saying that because that's what most Israel be getting caught up in, as far as those who die. And that be the first thing they be looking at too. Then they get the question of scriptures. You see what I'm saying? They get the question of scriptures. It's like, no, You so far removed from even the scriptures. How you gonna get into something so deep and spiritual like that when you're not even able to discern the book itself? You see what I'm saying? So we want to get into these deep things, Jubilees and Jasher and Enoch and the king, what's the wisdom of the keys of Solomon and all that type of stuff. And you can't even tell me the 10 Commandments. You can't even tell me when the Sabbath is. You can't even tell me what true idolatry is. You argue with me about what marriage is. You can't possibly be ready for the spiritual things. You can't possibly be able to be spiritually mature to handle the things of the spirit world. Because the minute you enter into that, whether you mature or immature, they see you.
That's a good point. He said, how can a man take care of the house of Elohim if he can't take care of the home? Home is your milk. But you out here teaching, then you're teaching the nation.
Right.
And your house is in disarray. Your house is out of order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got 10,000 precepts, but you go home and your wife don't even have the humility or the desire to see you as her adult, to see you as her Lord.
Right.
Because you don't take care of her, you don't see to her, you don't deal with her according to knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a plan for her. You don't have no script for her to follow.
Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Ain't got no script for her to
You
follow.
ain't got no script for her to follow. She don't got no vision. She don't got no plan. You know what I mean?
Winging
You
it.
going out there teaching the people. You know,
Right.
the streets.
Right. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You got 5 wives and you telling them, like, I'm glad I don't work.
Facts. I don't have to work to pay my bills.
You know what I'm saying?
What?
Yeah, Israelites that do that.
Facts. Use their wives up.
In spite of the word saying, man shall work by the labor of his brow.
Facts. Mm-hmm.
That's milk.
That's milk. Simple milk.
That's milk. Ain't meat.
It's not. It's not meat at all.
Like, that's milk. Feeding a fly, that's meat.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Verse 14.
Verse 14.
Replace that word full age.
All right. But strong meat belonging to them that are of maturity, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised.
What? Have their what?
Their senses exercised.
Exercised. To exercise means you went through something. You went through a trial and error period where you're able to discern and say, I have the what? Experience. Because what is wisdom? Applied knowledge through experience. So we out here with no experience in the spiritual world, talking about spiritual things and having mastered the milk of things. Because we have not thoroughly walked with Yah yet. We think the nationality is the end all be all. We can't even, believe it or not, we can't even talk about the nationality because what comes with nationality is purpose and an actual mission you must complete. But you can't even get to that mission if you haven't mastered the first thing yet, which is first yourself, then able to master your family. We can't even talk about the people with you. You still wet behind the ears. You still get aroused by the little things. You see what I'm saying? You can't even control your natural senses. Whether that be fornication or you gluttonous. You can't even, you have no discipline about yourself, but you want to be out on the block teaching the people how to discipline themselves. That's why I don't understand how you teach Leviticus 11 and you look like you on obesity level 3. It makes no sense. That makes no sense to me. We're going straight to level 3.
they 3, you dead.
For real. But no, and I'm being funny, but I'm serious because when people look at that, they should still see health. Because believe it or not, that's one of the actual meanings of shalom is you actually have good health. Your culture defines your health. Your spirituality defines your culture. This American society is gluttonous. So we can identify if you look like you gluttonous by the belly that you come from what culture. The Hebrew culture or the American culture? Y'all laughing. I'm so serious right now. No, because we really got to get this together, like for real. We got to stop looking like the heathen. The heathen are gluttonous. The heathen are fornicators. The heathen are idolaters. The heathen are adulterers. The heathen are fornicators. Didn't this what he said? When he came to fornication, he said that's the heathen thing. And is that what the word say? So I'm not, I know we laughing, but I'm serious. Our culture is supposed to reflect light, love, and health on all levels.
Said something. The heathens were very gluttonous people because they were in the realm.
Yeah.
Like, what's the main thing people do consider? What do they consider in this culture? What do they consider having fun with?
Drinking, sex, and party.
They want to go out and eat.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And when you look at the Roman culture, they were heavily eaters of flesh and drinkers of wine. They've had little vegetation in there.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
They just love meat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They just love flesh. So they were very gluttonous. Like all they do is they sit around, eat grapes, drink wine.
Yep.
And all day eat a bunch of meat.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was the culture.
Yep.
And if you look at American culture, American standard diet, even Europeans don't let food be imported to them.
Yep.
Because all America is doing is because Americans are consumers of so much stuff that keeps them full.
Mm-hmm.
They have to mass produce it and hyper produce it.
Right.
That's where the need for GMO comes from.
Right.
So they can get that chicken, the hair, and get that chicken from the egg and they got to speed it up.
Mm-hmm.
Because the society is very gluttonous.
Right. Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So no, I mean it's funny, but on one hand, that's the fruit of it.
Yep.
That's what comes out of this lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Because our guys are better.
Yep. That's what it say. Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm.
So why when we go to other countries and they see a fat person, they impressed.
And that's from colonization. And but you're right though. They literally think that's success. If you're fat, they think you got money, you successful.
Right.
But that's because that was a European ideology. Because it's crazy. If you actually look in ancient cultures, most of the people who ate excess of meat was royalty and rich people.
Yeah.
Most people who was not royalty and rich ate vegetation, ate nuts, they ate beans, legumes, all that stuff. They ate bread, a lot of bread, but they was not consuming meat like that. That was considered you wealthy. You get meat like that because most of the time those people had a lot of cattle, had a lot of
When we went to Tanzania, we were the biggest dudes there.
Yeah.
Everybody was like,
yeah, big dude. I wore a hat. They thought I was rich. They thought I was rich. You know what I'm saying? So that just tells you the ideology that we have is still heathenistic in nature. And we got to start thinking culturally. And even when you was talking about Pharisees and Sadducees fasting, although they started becoming self-righteous, but they stayed in good health because of that.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? They started to believe in themselves, but the point is we were a healthy looking people. We were a healthy culture, even down to our garments. Our garments was tight. It was raw. It was dope. You know what I'm saying? But we yeah.
It was clean tunes.
Facts. For real.
Sharp in the tool. You're walking tool.
Boy, casket sharp, literally. Let's keep going up. All right, so Read that last verse again.
Verse 14.
Mm.
But strong meat belonging to them that are of maturity, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
Let me ask you, who believe they actually have mastered the spirit of discernment? I believe so. Yeah, I believe that if you're looking from the aspect of us, it take a long time, and I'm saying that because a lot of us we got mileage in this culture. We got mileage, and we need to be retuned. But I believe if a person becomes low enough and takes the time to themselves long enough, I believe they can have the spirit of discernment. But that does come with experience, though. You can't have the spirit of discernment without experience, man. Because how you gonna know between good and evil if you don't experience both? So, please.
But strong meat belonging to them that are of full age, even though by reason have their senses exercised to discern both good and sleep. Actually, I'm gonna go back to 13. He said, "For everyone that uses milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, for he is a babe."
Yep.
Many people, especially in the Hebrew community, believe being skillful in the word is able to precept the Bible. In other words, being able to create scriptures like this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You can grab a bunch of tools out of a toolbox, but that don't mean you know how to use the tool.
Facts.
See, I can tell if he's my apprentice, right? I can tell him, "Hey, give me my square." First thing you'll do is have your apprentice learn the tools.
Yep.
Get my square. Get my hammer. No, I don't want that. I don't want a claw. I want a ball. You see what I'm saying? And then as he becomes better at my apprentice, he's going to know, based on that job that I'm doing, what tools I would need.
Before you even say
I'll
something.
start looking at him, and he'll already have that tool in my hand.
Yep.
Like, this doesn't require a claw. This requires a mallet.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Or this doesn't require a square, this requires a circumference.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm going to have to teach him, and it's going to be through the rigors of exercise that I'm telling him how to keep using that tool.
Yep.
And
Mm-hmm.
he starts studying me long enough, he'll start seeing what I need. I don't even got to ask him, I can go like this.
Yep.
Right? But then another process he has to use is he's going to have to learn how to use that tool.
Yep.
Right? So being skillful in the word is not being able to hurry up and go to a hammer or a nail. That's not it. Being skillful in the word is being able to do what? Apply it in its proper application.
Yep.
Because you're using it skillfully for righteousness.
Mm-hmm.
Righteousness means balance.
Right.
Right? Because that's what it is. Righteousness is about balance. What do I need? How do I use the word to apply it to this situation?
Mm-hmm.
Right? This time I may need to be merciful in this particular situation.
Mm-hmm.
This person may not need hard correction, so I may not go to a particular verse, a chapter, or verse that tells me, like, you know what I'm saying, that I'm supposed to beat you down with a certain verse.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm supposed to express love. He
Mm-hmm.
says, "Through love and kindness I have drawn me."
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Then we're told in Timothy, rebuke. What is this situation that's required to be rebuked?
Right.
Maybe this particular situation requires me to be having a gentleness.
Mm-hmm.
When my brother meek in the spirit of meekness.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Now that's being skillful in the word.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I think too that's the difference between winning souls and then pushing people further away from the Most High.
Because he says who wins souls is wise, right?
Okay.
So you have to this person maybe. Then I have to work with, I have to cooperate with the Holy Spirit, which is discernment. So now I may have to, this man like, this brother's full of pride. I may have to beat his pride down. So I may have to humble him. I may have to come at him and say some things that I know will bring him to a low degree.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But am I going to beat somebody down that's already down, or am I going to build them up?
Right. Right.
If I've already seen that the Yahuwah has already humbled him. Now it's time for me as a co-laborer working with the Spirit now to build him up. Maybe it's time to exhort him, right? But you only learn this by being skilled in the word and discerning, right? And coming to full age, coming to a place of maturity, right? But that comes from knowing what tool in the toolbox do you apply to that particular situation, right? Yeah.
So I took it off screen real quick to let it the laptop charge, but I'm gonna go through some words that start with Gimel. So the first one. If y'all want to go on YouTube to see him, y'all can. We're on the channel. So, repeat after me. Gama. Gama. Now, what Gama means, and I want y'all to really listen. Like, remember, we went through Gimel. What does Gimel mean? What could it mean? To walk. What else?
By the water, right?
Foot. What else? Gather.
That's all I got out of it from the.
Together.
Yeah, both together.
Right? And then we went through the root, which is Gam, which means to gather, or one who is completely nourished, one who has matured, right? Now, I want y'all to really look at these words that I'm about to say and listen to the definition. You'll actually see Gimel in these words. And that's the beautiful thing about Hebrew, because when you start putting these letters together, you went from one letter that has these different characters, but then you combine it with another letter which means other meanings as well, and you have a couple of them, now you have all these different characteristics that one should carry, right? So if your name is Amina, you're dealing with Aleph, Mem, Yod, Nun, and Hey. Those are a lot of different characters that she should be carrying within that whole name that completes her name, which means faith or belief. You understand? And believe it or not, faith actually is not a Hebraic word at all. It actually, when you say you are Mina or Amuna, it actually means you agree. You're in agreement with your creator. So agreement is also synonymous with to walk with. Because you're saying, I'm not only letting you guide, not only am I allowing you to guide me, but also I'm walking with you to be a defender. I'm defending you. You see what I'm saying? Which even goes into what? A help me. Ezer Neged. Ezer, you hear the Gimel again? Ezer Neged. See, you can't even mention Yah without dealing with the Gimel. So the first word is Gama, which means to absorb, abound, or to athirst. Now remember, the example of Gimel was a camel. Gam represents when animals gather together around a what? Water hole. Now, this was not a singular animal. These were many animals, mainly camels, walking together to the same water hole to drink from the same water, which means they are also in agreement with this water hole. So they're able to absorb, because absorb means actually bind oneself to, right? To take in. Abound means to circumference one. Then you have a thirst, I mean you're able to drink off of. The next word is, everybody say, Gala.
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 It means to reveal or to be revealed. It means to uncover, to remove or contain. I'm going to say it again. Gala means to reveal, to uncover, to remove or contain. When you're walking with Yah, he reveals himself to you, but also you are revealed to him. And that is a good thing and bad thing, because that shows you where you need to remove things, right? So now you're naked or you're uncovered in front of him. Because the only person you should be naked in front of is who? But initially, naturally, you only should be uncovered. Your husband. So now we're dealing with relationships. Because when he said he made man and woman in his image and likeness, he said they should both have dominion. That means Eve was walking with Adam because Adam was walking with Yah. Y'all see that? So it shouldn't be a thing where I'm pulling me, right? Shouldn't be a thing where she's trying to go this way, I'm trying to go this way. We're walking loosely with our arms next to each other. She walks with me because I walk with Yah. That's how that's supposed to go. It's like a domino effect. You see that? So it's the next word is geber, which means to overpower, to be victorious. He who is developing. Geber means to overpower, to be victorious, and he was developing. He said, I will make those who are enemy to you shall become my enemy. Right? I will give you the power to overcome your enemy. Because you only can be developing when there's a developer. You see that? And the only way we are victorious with Yah when we allow Yah to lead us by the way. Y'all follow me? You see how Gimel is still in there?
Yeah.
The next word is gadol. Everybody say gadol.
Gadol.
Which means to increase, to expand, one who is important, to extend. Right? So he said, I will lift you up. I will exalt you. Because who is the one who gives out in the army? Do you see somebody promote themselves? It's who promotes them. Who promotes them? Those of higher rank. In Yah's kingdom, who's the promoter? Who promotes? Huh? His word. His word promotes. So it is his word that exalts us. Y'all understand? Then we got Ga'al. Everybody say Ga'al. Which means to release or purge, activate, to empty out, to profess. You see that? So anytime you are walking with Yah, you're supposed to purge yourself. And through him, he's able to activate the purpose in you. For I formed you in the womb. I made you a prophet. And you're supposed to empty yourself out so he can what? Come in. And through all this, you're supposed to profess his what? Glory. Because that's another word for glory. Good dog. That's a word you can also use for glory too. Or Ga'al. I'm sorry, Ga'al. So next word is gamatz. Everybody say gamatz. Now gamatz means to hollow out, to be hidden. Where do we see this? In Psalm 91. Just go read the first verse for me.
Psalms chapter 91, verse 1. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High.
Secret place is where you're hidden at. Come on.
Shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty.
Come on. That's another word for Gadol. Almighty. Come on.
I will say of the Lord, he is my refuge.
My safe place.
And my fortress.
Come on.
My God, in him will I trust.
See that? That's what it means to walk with Yah. Is professing who your master is, purging yourself of any iniquities or things that's not of Yah, and allowing him to increase you. Hallelujah. So now let's get into the actual scriptures. Can y'all see that? We'll start right here first. Now, we went through Gimel. Means to walk with, to gather together, right? So the first scripture is this. You ain't got to read this one. This is right here. The first scripture is this. I want y'all to trade the word walk in for mature. So we're going to read this together. Amos 3:3. Let's read it together. Can two mature together except they be agreed? Let's just now replace that word with gather. Can two gather together lest they be agreed? See, the thing is, whether it become from doctrine to understanding, in any structure, whether that be family, tribe, nation, kingdom, job, organization, you have to have a thing of agreement. It's called what? A contractual agreement.
Attention.
You understand?
Is running low. Please plug in the power adapter now.
It's called a contractual agreement. You look at the thing about these contractual agreements is that there's not a two-sided thing. It's only what is commanded of you, what is required of you, and do you agree? Yes. That's it. Believe it or not, it's the same thing in marriage. What is required of you, what is needed of you, what's commanded of you, do you agree? Did we see Israel in the wilderness telling Yahweh, put this in the contract too? Did we see Israel like, well, I need this, I need that. This is what I need from you if I'm gonna be your wife. Did we see that? Nope. All we saw was, if you do all this, this is what you get. If you don't do all this is what you get. And ultimately, because you did not do all this, you kept not doing all this, I'm kicking you out my house, which was the land. That was it. There was no thing of back and forth. Let's make a contract together. There was not even a third party to say this is what y'all should do, called the government. He was just the witness.
He said, do you do? He said, we will do.
That's it. So the terms and conditions does not come from the woman. The terms and conditions don't even come from the government. The terms and conditions came from the man based on the constitution of what? Torah. That's it.
This is the crazy part. Most our sisters, they just understood Exodus and understood that what Yah was doing is he was proving he was capable of delivering, providing, and covering. And so, what woman wouldn't want that kind of man?
Facts.
Or that kind of husband?
That's it.
Right? Where the heathens, it sounds like you feel good.
Right. Mm-hmm. Love.
Just love.
Romance.
Romance. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Come have a good time.
Right.
But that's going to be qualifiers for the modern woman.
Right.
They not looking
Right.
for
And that's what they say too.
Yeah.
I don't need you to make no money, baby. I just need you to love me.
Right.
I just need you to love me. That's it.
They look for nothing qualifiers.
No
They
qualifier.
don't know what a husband is.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A foolish woman needs to tell you don't even got to work.
Facts. Just love me
Just
properly.
give me some cedar.
Mm-hmm. That's it.
That's it. But yeah, I tell you straight up what I said, yo, you know what? I'm gonna make an offer you can't refuse. I'm gonna show you who I am.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna show you I can deliver you and take you out of any situation.
That's it. And the crazy thing is, if a man was wise enough, he wouldn't even have to argue if he's doing the right thing.
That's it.
Am I doing this? Am I doing that? Am I doing that?
What's the real problem?
We ain't got nothing to talk about. That's it.
What we talking about?
That's it.
That's it. You do say.
Yeah. You got raiment? Food?
What we talking about?
That's it.
Sound like I'm a man over here.
That's it. But man get caught up in that abstract feeling too. But baby, I do this. It's like you ain't got nothing to explain. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That's your part.
You did what you're supposed to do. That's it.
Now, they say you gotta do all that.
That's it.
I say, now you saying something. Now, don't make me do what you said you was going to do.
That's it.
You know what I mean?
I'm doing my job. We good.
Go.
All right. So next verse, Jeremiah 31, verses 8 through 9. It says, "Behold, I will bring them from the north country." So what he said, I will bring them. I will lead them. Gimel, my man. I will bring them and gather them. Here we go again. From the coast of the earth, and with them the blind and the lame. So we got people who got the escape doctrine. Who said he's gonna gather us? And I'm not knocking it. If y'all moves you to leave, cool, that's you. But when you make the doctrine when we all have to, that's the problem. I believe wherever you're supposed to be, that's where y'all got you. But according to prophecy, it is Yah who will gather the nations, not yourself. He will not do it by you. He will gather the nation through his word. Because you know how we know this? Because we know once everybody on one accord. Because there has to be witnesses, not just you, witnesses to say, Yah, it says time to leave. So it says this, and with them the blind and lame, the women with child, and her that travaileth with child together. So you tell them I'm gathering the blind, the lame, the homeless, even that woman who pregnant. I'm gonna gather all of them. He said, and great company shall return them. They shall come with weeping and supplications will I lead them. I will cause them to what? Walk by the rivers of water in the straight way. Gimel. When animals gather together at one water hole to what? Drink. You understand? Well, now what does rivers represent? They represent life. They represent rebirth. They represent cleansing. They also represent purging. So when he said he's going to bring us and we're going to be weeping and with supplication, that's because we're going to, at that point, really identify. We really been sinning. You see that? He said, wherein they shall not stumble. For I am a father to Israel. And Ephraim is my firstborn. Hear the word of Yahweh, O ye nations, and declare it in the isles of afar off, and say, he that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him. So now he's telling us, even the nations should start declaring. Remember we was talking about signs? Signs. This is one sign. When we start seeing, now are we starting to see this? We're starting to see the nations actually identify who the children of Israel is. You see that? So we're picking up this, so we know we're in the last day, because this is part of a last day prophecy. Hallelujah. So it says, he that scattered Israel will gather him and keep him, as a shepherd doeth his flock. Because all shepherds at some point have to stop and let his flock what? Drink. Psalm 119, 17 to 24. It says, deal bountifully with thy servant, that I may live and keep thy word to bind. Open thou my eyes, that I may behold wondrous things out of thy law. I am a stranger in the earth. Hide not thy commandments from me. My soul breaketh for the longing that it have unto thy judgment at all times. Thou hast rebuked the proud that are cursed, which do err from the commandments. Remove from me reproach and contempt, for I have kept thy testimonies. Princes also did sit and speak against me, but thy servant did meditate in thy statutes. Thy testimonies are my delight and my counsel. This is Lamed, to guide through his spirit, and we are gathered to him in safety. Hallelujah. Hebrews 10 and 23. Let us hold fast to the profession of our faith. What is a profession? Your job, your duty. Now remember, let's replace that word faith with agreement. Let us hold fast the profession of our what? Everybody, the profession of our what? Do we all agree to serve Yah?
Yeah.
Are we breaking this agreement sometimes?
Yes, we do.
Ooh-wee. So whose fault is it? Us. It's on us. We have to fulfill our agreement. And believe it or not, Numbers 30 plays very spiritual significance, because who's our mediator to tell Yah to disavow what we say? You see, when you actually walk with him, you start to carry that same power with your own wife. So let us hold fast the profession of our agreement without what? Wavering. Let's replace that word with decisiveness. For he is faithful that promised. And let us consider one another to provoke unto love and to good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together. Ooh-wee. So you telling me when you're not putting in the work and walking with your brother, that as a form of forsaking the assembling of even yourself? Yes. Was Echadmalkut put together by man or spirit? Spirit. Therefore, we have a duty and profession in an agreement that we made to work together. Echadmalkut. Because even that name came from an outside source. See that? So there should not even be any question about anything. It is Yah put this together. And what Yah put together can no man put asunder. So it says, as the manner of some is, but exhorting one another, so much the more as ye see the day approaching. So he's saying when we actually understand this, we commit to that profession that we made an agreement with, we should not forsake the assembly, and really we should start provoking each other more love, because the more we provoke each other, we all see the day, right? The day of judgment. We all agree the day of judgment coming, right? We all agree that the Messiah is coming, right? We all agree that his word should be fulfilled, right? That means every day we should be getting better one another, because we are all part of the kingdom of Mashiach. And when you start to look at your brother and sister in that light, you should be more willful to actually put any differences aside and work together. Because remember, his sorrows is my sorrows, and my happiness is what? His happiness. Whatever his issue is now become my issue, because we have agreed that we are tried. Hallelujah. 1 Corinthians chapter 9. 1 Corinthians chapter 1, verse 9 through 10. God is faithful, by whom ye are called unto the fellowship of Mashiach. So we all called to the fellowship, right? That means we fellowship, and that means we what? We agree. That means we are agreed together. That means we are gathered together for the same calling. It says, now I beseech you, brethren, by the authority, I'm going to say authority, by the authority and seal of our Adonai Yehoshua Mashiach, that ye all speak what? The same thing. And that there be no what? Divisions among you. Because that's tension. That's putting a gap in between you. That's putting a crack in your wall. And that's allowing the enemy to seep in. It said that there be no division amongst you, but that ye be perfectly joined together. Meaning we should be shoulder to shoulder. Because we are shoulder to shoulder with who? Yah. That we be perfectly joined together in the same mind and in the same judgment. We're going to place that word judgment with what? Balance. So let's say it together. In the same mind and the same what? Balance. So when he's gone, I should be saying the same thing. When I'm going, he should be saying the same thing. When he's gone, I should be saying the same thing. If y'all forbid something to happen to me, my children should still be raised the same way, because y'all know we all agree on how our children should be raised.
What makes McDonald's so powerful? The system that is something that you go to McDonald's, section, like any type of franchise, right? Or any type of company, you can go there and get the same thing.
Attention, your battery is running low. Please plug in the power adapter now.
You go there and have the same thing. You go there and get the same thing. No matter what Chick-fil-A you go to, you want to get the same thing. Some people may say, that's bland or that's boring. I want to be a unique restaurant where anybody else cannot come in. Right. Get what I got.
Right.
That's cool, but you'll never be as powerful as a franchise.
Facts.
You'll never produce or yield greater dividends.
Right.
Because you're not replicating yourself. Right? You're not reproducing yourself.
Yep.
And that's what Mashiach means. Whether you want to say Echadmalkut, whether you want to say whatever, but what makes the Israelite, well, I'll say the beginning of the awakening that makes this look so bad is our disfranchisement.
Yep.
We're not all saying the same things. We're not all believing the same thing. We don't all have the same mind. Nor do we have the same righteousness, the same judgment.
Yep. And believe it or not, that's actually how Sarnetta built his channel.
Yes.
On our division.
Yeah, he built on our division.
Yep.
Right. And he exposes it.
Yep.
Well, I say he exploits it.
Yep.
Right. So, but that proves that we're still children.
Yep.
Because children have those type of fights. Right. My toy. This is my stuff. This is mine. But when the mind of Mashiach is ahead of us, then none of it's ours.
Right.
His.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So, hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Let's go to 3 John chapter 1. I got to charge the computer. So 3 John chapter 1. We're We're going to start at verse 2. 3 John chapter 1, we're going to start at verse 2.
All right. Book of 3 John, chapter 1, starting in verse 2. For I rejoice greatly.
No, 3 John chapter 1, verse 2.
3 John, chapter 1.
Yeah, verse 2.
Oh, sorry. Verse 2. Beloved, I wish above all things that thou mayest prosper and be in health.
You see that? So Yah wants us to prosper. We see this in Joshua. He said when you keep the instructions, you should find yourself prosperous and you should find yourself having great success. So it's not like our Creator wants us to sit here like the Jewish people on Passion of Christ and look all dusty and look like we got dust all over our face and all that. Nah. No, he wants us to look, man. I mean, brother, for those who got wild or those who had one before. Do you want your woman walking around busted? You want her looking all raggedy, hair out done, like she done put her face in some mud? No. You want her to represent you well. You want her to be modest. You want her to look like, for me, you want her to look like royalty. You want to look like she is taken care of. Right? And Yah wants the same thing for us because technically we are his wife. And he wants his wife to look good and in good health because he wants his wife to produce fruit. Or he wants his wife to produce good seed. Be a good fertile soil that he's able to produce good seed in. Why you thinking in prophecy and Revelations, he referred to Israel as a woman, and this woman is travailing that's going to birth a son. Like, y'all understand that he used Israel to birth the Messiah. And he's trying to birth more of the righteous on the earth. Y'all ain't never really peaked in the last 5 years. There's been an exponential amount of birth in the last 5 years. I'm talking about baby bloomers for real. It's been a major, even in Mika'EL, but we're popping them out in the last 4 years. We probably almost at 10 at this point. In the last 4 years, y'all. So we see he wants us to be fruitful and multiply. So he said, above all things, I want you to be prosperous and a good health. Because the reality is, you can't really have children if you got a bad womb or a barren womb. So you got to be in good health even to be able to nourish that seed that he's giving you. Even your talents, even your gift is a seed that he put in you that you're supposed to be able to nourish by his word. Keep going on.
Verse 3. For I rejoice greatly when the brethren came and testified of the truth that is in thee.
Come on.
Even as thou walkest in the truth.
Even as walked in what?
In the truth.
Come on.
I have no greater joy than to hear that my children walk in truth.
He didn't say Yaakov did. He didn't say Mika'EL. It is great joy when his children are gathered together to walk in truth. This is really the revelation of Gimel, y'all. It's not just walking. It is actually for us to gather together, to walk together in his word. That is the whole revelation of Gimel right there. Where we can really stop, but it's other scriptures I want to see, but that's really it right there. That is the revelation of Gimel. To walk together and journey to Yah's water hole. But he said, I shall bring you by the rivers of living waters. I'm going to stop playing with our Creator, man. He's trying to give us sustenance, y'all. He's trying to, y'all, I don't know if y'all see it. He's trying to show out. Now, y'all know in the wicked world, they do it like they put a tight ass dress on a woman and they don't mind putting her on display. Y'all trying to put us on display in righteousness, though. Look at my wife. Yeah, they prosper. They don't need no idol. They don't need no wood and stone. They don't need no crystals. They don't need these postures to give to me. Only posture I need them in is submission. That's all I want. I don't really even need y'all to sacrifice to me. I just want you to give me an upright and contrite heart. That's it. I just need your mind. That's all. That's it. He ain't got to get all deep and esoteric with us. Because believe it or not, that's deep within itself. Give me your mind. How many of us actually, and let's be honest, in the world, went up to a woman and actually considered her mind? How many of us, when we looking at a woman to possibly court or get with, we actually considering her mind?
Yeah, in the world,
In the world. No. You looking at that nice butt, you looking at her breast, you looking at her curves, you looking at her face, you looking at the external how you can display it. You're not looking at the internal how you can display that. That is the problem. You're looking at the external man and not the internal. Because the reality is, because that's the real prize right there. Can she express herself like you when you ain't around? Can she speak like you when you ain't around? Can she run your house like you as if you were still there? That's the real flex, to be honest with you. That's the real flex. Ain't because she put a nice dress on her and her booty shaped nice. Nah. All you just did is produce lustful Negroes who want to hit your wife just like you do, who probably are starving you from it. And you probably ain't getting nothing like that. Oh, that movie, right. You putting it on display for other Negroes to lust after, so you can sit over there with them like, yeah, me too, I would too. You having a Me Too movement with them other Negroes. Getting mad. Hey. And the reality is that's just not the way he wants us to externally put us on display, but he more so wants, for example, when he came to the nations, he said he wanted us in the eyes of the nations to keep his commandment, because that declared our what? Wisdom. That declared that we were wise people by following him. That's it. That's all this is about. He really wants to put us on display and show how fruitful his kingdom is. And the reality is that's what it really meant when he said, the heathens blaspheme me through you. They blaspheme, let's replace name with authority. They blaspheme my authority through you. You see that? Because it's the nations right now mocking our God because we are mocking our God through our actions.
It's through you that the nations is seeing me as a sinner.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
That I'm not in control of my house.
Yep. Ooh.
That any Negro can run up and get next to you.
Everybody
Women think it's cute when they believe. Women think it's cute when a man can disrespect her cover.
Mm-hmm.
You get it?
Mm-hmm.
The real life, you're not realizing if you as a woman are exposing yourself, you are making your man look weak.
Yep.
You're proving that you really don't have a man.
Right.
You don't have a cover.
Mm-hmm.
Where y'all say, I'd rather get rid of you.
Right.
Then that make me look bad.
Right.
So what he said, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna play your game with you. I'm gonna let the Gentiles in to provoke you to jealousy.
Right. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go get a concubine and take it and give her wife status for a season.
Yep.
Which is called the times of the Gentiles.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Ooh-wee. We talking about marriage? Marriage? Woo!
I'm gonna let what everybody would know as a side chick.
Yeah.
Someone that's not worthy to sit in your seat. To be there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's what he said. That's what Paul said. Paul knew. He said, I'm speaking of mystery.
Yep.
Say Gentiles don't get puffed up. Don't get puffed up just because you've been circumcised. You're a wild wretch been circumcised into a holy tree.
Yeah.
This woman Israel, I'm using you.
Mm-hmm.
Don't trip.
Mm-hmm.
I'm using you right now, just like I was provoked to jealousy.
Yep.
By their gods, I'm using you to provoke them to jealousy. But once I'm done using you, I'm gonna give my mic back.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So she gonna be back by my side.
Yep.
Once she start, because every woman, I don't care what you say, when you the woman that been put out the house and put down, and you see how good it was that you had it, I guarantee you'll realize how good that Negro was.
Facts. Mm-hmm.
You'll remember how good it was to be under a cover.
Right. And you know
how it was.
You know how most I play with you too? He's usually say you a worse Negro than the last.
Oh, facts.
Just so you'll really be convicted. Just so you'll really be convicted.
Right. You're worse Negro.
Mm-hmm.
You have a whole bone.
Right.
It don't work. You gotta convince him to get a job. Y'all sitting around like, I'm the best thing yet.
Right.
You understand who I am?
Right. Mm-hmm.
Who I am?
Right. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And all we cry about is all day.
Right.
You talking about the white girl over there.
Right.
When I called you.
It's just like Ezra's father. It's obvious. When the brethren wanted to kill Ezra for burning and taking down the idols, they wanted to kill him. He said, "Well, call him that guy then. Let's see if he's gonna save himself.
Right.
Let's see if he's gonna protect him. Let him defend himself then." Right. And that's the point. And that's y'all speaking to him like, let's see them produce fruit then.
What do we say? We say we used to be kings and queens.
Right.
Well, we used to say we used to be married to a husband. We was married to a king.
Right.
That's what the cry really is. Down to
that's what it all is. That's what it all is. Because the reality is you can't have no queen without a king.
You can't have one. We were royalty. We used to be royalty. You sitting up there got smoke with the side chick. Side chick just sitting around like, hey, I'm enjoying it. I don't know what your problem is, but and you know that other woman when that new chick that come in.
Oh yeah, chest all up, yeah.
Chest all up.
Mm-hmm.
And she looked at the girl woman that got put away, like, girl.
You're lost. You're lost.
And I say till you humble yourself, till you humble yourself, until you break yourself before me.
Yep.
See what I'm saying? When you do it, I'll take you back. I love you.
Right.
You just don't respect me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I got feelings for that. I feel it a little bit, but I want praise from you.
Fact. I want that first. I want that first one. I want that first one.
I want that first love. And he said it was his first love.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I got Judah and I got Ephraim.
Mm-hmm.
I used to love the praise of Judah.
Yep.
Look at you, like to talk to me.
Right.
Y'all played, y'all did it too much. Y'all keep pulling on me.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Say all those things, you go right back out there and give it away.
Right. Silly woman. Silly woman.
Now y'all out there giving my praise. That's supposed to be for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's mine.
They call him talking about come save me.
Right.
What?
Here I am. You got me out here looking crazy.
Right. Here I am again.
You know what I'm saying? Said I'm married to the backslider.
Right. It got to the point where the nation knew how to get her to cheat.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, I just need to put a little bedazzle on her. Yeah. Let me dangle a little gold.
yeah.
You know, a little idol here and there.
But Israel was so dirty. They literally put God's wardrobe on the nations.
Yep.
Sorry, the further the vexation.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh-wee.
All in your car, got his feet all in your couch. In your center.
Work hard for that car.
Bruh.
Nigga, wear my shoes.
You
You walking around in my robe? That's my robe.
Pet your dog.
Hey, your dog.
You know what I'm saying?
In your refrigerator.
Bouncing his children. You bouncing your children on the knee.
Oh, no. No, he went too far.
Yeah, bro. That's the thing about the prophets, man.
Huh?
The prophets had to walk that thing out.
Man, they had to walk it out.
Like Hosea, bro. I'm like, oh, God, please. Anything with this.
Go get your wife orders.
Go get your wife and endure that thing. Let Israel see.
And let it be children of the Lord.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Go get pregnant by other. Take care. Take care of another nigga's children. And that's how we do.
Right.
Whoa.
Oh my God. Well, we got more blended families than anybody. Boy. Hey, I just did it right there. Woo! We got more blended families than anybody. Yeah, let's wrap this. Dang, yo, we got me thinking right now. Let's go. We still in first, 3 John chapter 1. We was at verse 5.
Yeah. That's right.
Come on.
I'm good. You recognize all these years.
Whoa.
Verse 5. Beloved, thou doest faithfully whatsoever thou doest to the brethren and to strangers.
Oh, we ain't supposed to deal with the heathen and strangers. But our king said, especially when they come in, you're supposed to treat them as the brethren. Because this is my house, not yours. You want to run off with one scripture about Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated thee. But he said, if any man come serve, let him come serve with a good heart. And if any be among you, treat him as one who is homeborn. You see what I'm saying? Everybody has a chance of repentance. This is what it really means to walk with Yah and to have sovereignty like Yah and to have dominion on the earth, because your judgment will be as his judgments. Your judgment will be as his judgment. And if there's a Gentile who wants to come serve in spirit and in truth, then you, as being the wife, understanding your husband's rules, so long as they are circumcised in the heart, you have no problem with somebody else coming to serve your God. And here's the crazy thing about it. Israel is just like some of these wives today. Selfish with the husband. Selfish. But the reality is, if one wants to come serve, so long as they circumcise the heart, you got to let them. It's the wives and children that belong to the husband, not the husband that belongs to them. He belongs to who? That's it, the Most High.
Good point. So who are we to deny any other stranger? Who are we to deny a stranger?
Who are we to deny? It ain't our house, is it? We just living. We just here to serve and be a good wife. It ain't our duty. That's our duty to watch, right? It's our duty to protect, right? It's our duty to be a good spiritual helpmeet, right? But ultimately, ain't it our choice who we get to choose to serve Elohim? And that's the problem, because we're thinking too westernized. That's the reality. A man does not belong to a woman or his children. They belong to him. He belongs to Yah. Just like Israel. Y'all don't belong to Israel. Israel belongs to Yah. And all his creation belongs to Yah. It is not our duty or our job to say who belongs to him. It is only our duty to examine that which is supposed to serve him and make sure it's in alignment with the master's plan. That's it. That's it. That is all. In the scripture, you don't see my husband. You see I'm the wife of. You never see him say my husband. I'm the wife of such and such. I'm the son and daughter of such and such. Because through that, you're proclaiming what house you come from. You don't belong to your woman. She belongs to you. But understand it's the same thing with all the nations. Y'all don't belong to you. You belong to Yah. That's the whole point. And here's the thing. If you secure in your position, you shouldn't be insecure about no Gentile. It's the same natural thing with women. If the wife is secure in her position, she shouldn't be insecure about no other woman. Because she's secure in her position. And the security is what? Raiment. The love of Christ. Sacrifice. House. Food. Right? Provision. That's your security. And that should be the only measuring rod of insecurity. Because if you're not secure in the love of Christ in your husband, you're not secure in the raiment, in the food, and the provision, that should be the only thing that you should insecure in, that you see that's obviously not being given to you according to the word. You see what I'm saying? Anything else, that's abstract emotions. It's abstract. This is all it's about. You securing y'all in. Y'all take all the nations you need to. I'm good. I mean, a little mansion over here, food, raiment, good garment. I'm looking good. Go ahead and do your thing. Go ahead and do your thing. That's all it is. But that's real. See, we have to get away from the Western thought and think of it from an Eastern thought concrete. What are you doing for me? That is my security. Everything else is Americanized. It really is, man. It really is. But believe it or not, being in a concrete environment, having that measuring rod actually put more onus on the man. Because then you can't get away with saying, my wife pay all the bills. Then you can't get away with saying, well, I ain't even got a toilet to piss in. Then you can't get away with not having a house and living at your mama's house no more. Yeah. That's it.
I can't take care of no one. I can't give that permission. So it's there. All of those things are there that protect both the dichotomy of the relationship.
Facts.
You take out the abstract emotion out of it. You actually are guarded by the Torah on both sides.
You are.
Right.
And
it protect the man from actually making any missteps.
Right. Or be easily exposed if you do. So let's go to verse 6.
Verse 6, which have borne witness of the charity before the church, whom if thou bring forward on their journey after a godly sort, thou shalt do well.
So we see that the love and the thing that we supposed to bow in together, the witness of that is bringing people forth through the journey of a godly sort. You see what I'm saying? That is the duty of a wife, as Israel should be to Yah. We are supposed to bring people to Yah in a godly sort, not just anybody. We're not the church. Come as you are. No, you can't. You can't come before my king like that. Oh, you got to fix yourself up. You stink. You look bad. You need to tighten up. For real.
We know that's real because they said that you come to the wedding feast in the wrong garments.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
See, you'll be casting out the dark.
You be casting out the dark.
You can't come to y'all and the way you are.
Not at all.
You better come in the right garments.
Mm-hmm.
But the beautiful part is he allows Mashiach to dress you in his righteousness.
He allows Mashiach to dress you.
You know what I'm saying?
Not you dress yourself. Because the reality is, I'm telling you, it's not degrading a woman at all. But in the essence of metaphorically speaking, the same way you raise your children in the aspect of what you're supposed to provide is the same thing you give to your wife. Don't know why, hey babe, how do I look? She's asking for you to confirm to her that she look good or bad, which shows you she's dependent on you just to be in agreement or disagreement that don't look good.
Man should be able to eventually put his woman in any and everything to wear, no matter what she goes to her wardrobe. He can say,
Exactly.
you know what I'm saying? I know what I buy for you.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
Facts.
So I know you look good no matter what you put on.
Exactly. That's it.
That's it.
We see it, it's just we're not understanding it. It's right there the whole time. 1 John chapter 2. Start at verse 6.
This is the book of 1 John, chapter 2, starting in verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
He that saith he abideth in him ought himself also to walk.
Ooh, say that again.
He that saith he abideth in him ought himself also to walk, even as he walked.
So can we say concretely, people can say they believe in the Messiah, but we only know they believe it if they walk like him. There's no guessing that, right? You don't even have to ask nobody. All you got to do is pay attention to the tree, and it will reveal its fruit. Why are we having this trouble in Israel of really discerning who's who? Is because we don't have discerning eyes, mature eyes, or experienced eyes to know who's walking in Christ for real. We're not skilled in the word. A lot of us, that's why I said, and I boldly and confidently say most leaders are unskillful. They're uncircumcised teaching people. They think because you say Kwam Yasha'Allah, you say Yahweh Shah, that we're in agreement.
They circumcise men into their doctrine.
Yes.
They're circumcising them into their group. They're not circumcising them in Hamashiach.
So they're putting them through their own rites of passage.
Right.
They're cultivating them into the way that they should go.
That's right.
That's the problem.
You make me required, you know, have a hat with a rope around it, that little flap with a rope around it.
Yeah.
And put on sunglasses.
That's it.
That may be all you need. You know what I'm saying? Niggas need to walk around with 2 wolves on your shoulder.
That's it. That's it, huh? That's it, man.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, some people's qualifications is different.
It is. But y'all only has one qualification. We only have one way. That's it. Righteousness. Righteousness, obedience. That's the only ingredients he's looking for in you. He ain't looking for your thoughts. He ain't looking for your ways. He ain't looking for how you think you should produce. All I need to see is you produce what I've given you. That's it. There's no discussion. Man, oh my God. If men understood that, not only will it help them with their choice of women, but it would help them understand truly what Yah's called them to be. Because really, your woman is supposed to help what Yah's giving you to produce. But again, we're so caught on these, we're not thinking with this. You're looking at this. Keep going.
God is behavior sensitive. He's not into empty ritual.
Right.
He's into behavior because he understands you can't fake behavior.
Right. Okay.
Behavior is who you are.
Yep.
You see what I'm saying? Now you can make adjustments and try to make it sound like that's what Yah's about. That's what he's into. But for those of us who know the scripture and know the elements, don't know what behavior does not fit. Right? Does not fit the standard.
Okay.
You know? That's what it is.
Yep.
Our behavior is just no different than our life.
That's it. She's a reflection of you.
She's a reflection of us. So it's going to be indicative.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Okay.
And that's what it is. And so it ain't no, you can't pull the wool over the eyes. I mean, all we can do is say, let's have mercy on that brother, pray for that brother. But we don't know the telltale signs that brother. Your house is out of order.
Facts.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Squeeze the toothpaste, but eventually it's gonna come out on one end.
Yep.
It's gonna come out on the front end or the back end.
Yep.
But once inside, it's gonna come out.
Got to.
All pressure needs to do to be alive.
It's not what goes in the man, it's what comes out of the fire.
Comes out of the fire.
Mm-hmm.
So we gonna see.
Yep.
We
Okay.
all see. We'll be able to read it.
Only they tell you.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
After a couple years, that fruit gonna
got
produce.
fresh toothpaste in here.
Yeah.
You know, they come out of there.
Smell like dung. Yeah, it smell like dung in there.
You gotta get back and brush my teeth with that.
Right. Talking about it's all good. Breath smell like hotlicious, man. Let's keep going, man.
Verse 7. Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you.
So he ain't writing nothing new to you. It's the same thing from the beginning, man. Again, when you go back through it, everything from the beginning after that is nothing but repetition, him adding on to that which was in the beginning. So the biggest thing that we see that Adam and Eve committed was they were disobedient. We can go into the details about the man and the woman, all that crap, but the reality is it was a ripple effect of disobedience all the way to the head, because if the head is sick, the whole body is what? Adam had a chance to disavow it, he did. So he's just as wrong as his wife. Probably even more wrong because he knew better. Let's keep going.
I'll just start over. Brethren, I write no new commandment unto you, but an old commandment, which ye have from the beginning. The old commandment is the word, which ye have heard from the beginning.
1 John chapter 1, verse 6 and 7.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 1, starting at verse 6.
Mm-hmm.
If we say that we have fellowship with him,
So we say that we gather together in Hamashiach, come on,
and walk in darkness,
and walk in wickedness, come on.
we lie and do not the truth.
Come on.
But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light.
So what is our example how to walk? Him. Hamashiach. That is the highest standard of what we should be striving for. If you are living any way indifferent, you cannot say you have fellowship with him. It's a lie. You're lying to yourself. Now you can say I'm striving. I'm trying to get in that club. Right now, I don't fit the standard or criteria how to get into the club. That's okay. As long as you're doing the work to try to get there, you're fine. But we got to stop lying. Too many people trying to profess that they in the Messiah, they believe in the Messiah. But to believe concretely in Hebrew is to be in agreement with the Messiah. And to be in agreement with the Messiah means you walk as a Messiah. And if we're going to really be honest, and we actually took a big scope and looked at the whole nation of Israel right now, how many can we really say is walking like Hamashiach? I ain't going to say nobody. I'm pretty sure there's people. No, he said nobody. I'm pretty sure there's somebody. But the reality is we don't see it a lot. I'm talking about those who are in belief. Or even if I say those who don't believe, let's say they follow the Torah. Still. There's so much nonsense in that community. Far worse than the Messianic community. So when we really start measuring ourselves against Torah and his word, a lot of us don't fit the standard. Mm-mm.
Like I said earlier, as what is obedience is responding.
Yeah. That's it.
This is clearly just responding to what you're asking, you required you to do or to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then fellowship with Hamashiach, fellowship with him through his word.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. It's not that deep and complicated.
Nope.
But most people get it wrong. And they fall out and they don't follow the fellowship is that they have a wrong idea about what Hamashiach is.
Mm-hmm.
Or they do according to their own righteousness.
Yep.
But it's not that.
Okay.
back in the
Yeah. All right. So let's go to. Oh, finish that off for me.
I'll start over. Verse 7. But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another.
So what's the criteria for even us to have fellowship and gather together? It's to us be in agreement of walking in his light. That don't mean verbally, because he said don't just be hearers of the word, but what? Doers. So we have to be able to see that you're doing the work of a Mashiach for you to even be in fellowship with us. See, we got to start setting the standard high and stop accepting anything in Israel. And that's the problem. We accept anything and anybody who may be in slight agreement with us. No, according to this concrete culture that we come from, you're supposed to be in full agreement with anybody you have fellowship with. Because when we in full agreement, you ain't saying nothing different than me. You ain't thinking nothing different than me. You're not walking no different than me because we are walking in the Messiah. Stop playing with this walk and just accepting anything. I was there before. You just want to be united. You think that's the cool thing to do. You think that's the right thing. And there ain't nothing wrong with it. But there is a criteria and a standard that we got to stop missing. We got to stop thinking because you are Israel that you're good. We got to stop thinking that you claiming Judah, Benjamin, that you're good. We got to stop thinking because somebody said, I believe in the Bible that you're good. Proper judgment is observance, believe it or not. And observance does not come by you observing somebody's lips. It comes by you observing their actions. Everybody is not your ak or our coach. Because anybody who is your ak and a coach, you are saying, we believe that we are doing our Father's will together on the same accord. Yeah. That's it. And it's not to say it's wrong or you doing something wrong when you looking at it. It's not nothing wrong with that because that's Torah. That's the scriptures. That's the master speaking. Period. Keep going. Read 7 again.
Verse 7.
Close that door. No. Good.
But if we walk in the light, as he is in the light, we have fellowship one with another. And the blood of Yehoshua HaMashiach, his son, cleanse us from all sin.
Because if we are brothers and sisters, that means we are part of the same house. And that means we are part of the same master. And through that master, he is now disemboweled our sins. He has cleansed us from our sin. Because remember, this is a redemptive culture. This is a redemptive culture. So we are saying we have been redeemed by the same master. Therefore, we must do the same servitude and duty as the master called us to do. Simple as 1 + 1 is 2, y'all. But this is how you know who really reading the scripture. Because if you read the scripture, you know the standard is high. Because your master is on high. And his kingdom is on high. And he requires high standards. It's called for you to be set apart. And to be set up, if you really look at the priest, if you actually look at the duties of the priest, and if we're called to be a kingdom of a priesthood, that you know that you wouldn't just take anything. Oh, a priest couldn't even take a woman who's been married before or who's had children before. He could not take her at all. And it had to be from his tribe. That wasn't no suggestion. That was a requirement. That was a requirement. A lot of us have loose standards. We're willing to bend the standard for the sake of just feeling good. Nah, there's a standard. And you got to be, you got to be able to empty yourself out of your own natural senses and let Yah fill you up on truly how you should live. Colossians 2 and 5. I'll read that one. Go ahead. Oh, you got to go ahead.
This is the book of Colossians, chapter 2, starting at verse 5.
Come on.
For through I be absent in the flesh, yet am I with you in the spirit, joying and beholding your order, and the steadfastness of your faith in Mashiach.
Replace that with faith with agreement. And the steadfastness of your agreement in Hamashiach. Come on.
As ye have therefore received Hamashiach, Yehoshua, the Lord, so walk ye in him.
So remember, to receive, to absorb, or to abound in Hamashiach means you agree to walk like a Mashiach. So such and so as a wife, if she abounds or carries the name of that man, she actually is submitting her own will and saying, I'm going to walk like that man. Come on.
Verse 7. Rooted and built up in him.
Woo! Rooted in what?
Built up in him.
So that means every little root that you had of that old man got to be uprooted. That means every brick that you laid on your own got to be removed. And you got a lot of word to be rooted in you, and you got a lot of word to build you up. Come on.
And established
In your what?
agreement.
Remember, because Gimel also means to establish. It means to establish. Come on.
And like that's
Please.
Look at it. How do you know what type of tree it is? Based on what? Its fruit. So you would, and we can look and say, man, I look at that lemon tree because I know it has lemons, therefore it's established as a what?
Lemon
A
tree.
lemon tree. So he said, be rooted, built up, grow up in him, and established in faith or agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So we gotta also be established. So when you come into this walk, and if you're rooted in Christ and you're established, you already established for who you are.
Yep.
So there shouldn't be no wavering. You shouldn't turn and change into a different kind of tree.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? No way you should be a Buddhist next week.
Right.
That's proof you haven't been established in Mashiach.
Didn't have been rooted. Yep.
People who came in at his walk 1 minute was so-called, I'm an Israelite. We'll see. We'll see next year.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Okay.
No, you're not established.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yep. Even to add to that, even to go deeper with that, when you look into agriculture, every farmer has an actual design of his farm. It gets to the point where you actually tell whose farm it is by the design. Every farmer does not have the same design. Some use mounds. Some use garden beds. Some use raised garden beds. Some use a circular format to grow their food. Some use straight rows. Some even crop there. Some do monocropping. Some do biodiversity cropping. So you see, you'll even know who cultivated that tree. You'll know the farmer based upon the cultivation of the tree or the cultivation of that fruit. Every farmer has a certain design, and I'm telling you, I know this from experience of talking to farmers. That's one of the main things they always say. Before you go start planting, have a design on how you want your farm to look. Have a design on how you want your farm to look. So by the time you're ready to start planting seed, that is what your goal is. Don't go out there just planting seed. Have an actual idea of what you want it to look like. In the beginning was the word, the instructions. And the instructions was with Yah. And the instruction was Yah. In him was the light of the tree. It says men, but we know men are compared to what? Trees. Who is your farmer and husbandman? Who is the one cultivating you? I promise you, this is simple. You know who cultivated by the devil? It was cultivated by Yah, by their fruit. Yah is not into poly-spiritualism. He's not into poly-spiritualism. He's not into polyculturalism. He's not. He wants all the praise and glory for what he is cultivating. Period. It wasn't multiple guys that cultivated the earth. It was one Elohim who had a vision and a blueprint. I'm going to say a spiritual print on how he wanted his creation. For the earth is his what? Footstool. And the food is thereof. This is his house. Ooh. It wasn't about it just a simple temple in Israel because the whole earth is his house. Therefore, everything in his house, including the Gentiles, is there for his cultivation. And those who walk with y'all understand this. Therefore, you won't get in the way of your master. Unless you just feel like hey, what about these people? What about that? What about this? He don't mind that. Because he don't mind a challenge, or he don't mind a person having him think it out. He does not mind that, as long as it's in righteousness. Because he know that you think like him. Therefore, when you speaking, you're not speaking from your own thoughts, but you're speaking from his judgment, because it is his judgment. He can swear no higher than. So go ahead.
I'll start over at verse 7. Mm-hmm. Verse 7. Rooted and built up in him, and established in the agreement, as ye have been taught.
As you've been what?
Been taught.
Come on.
Abounding therein with thanksgiving.
You see that? So you're supposed to abound in the God. You're supposed to abound in him through what you've been taught based upon the agreement. There is no wavering or let's renegotiate the contract at a different time. No, it's set eternally in stone. It was literally in stone. In stone. Come on.
Verse 8. Beware lest any man spoil you through philosophy and vain deceit.
Oh yeah, we used to do this back in the day. It's okay to airbend and do these yoga posture positions. It's not to other gods. It's okay. All you're doing is stretching. You're just stretching your body. No. It's okay to wear this and that. You're activating this chakra. You're activating that. No. No, sir. Do you have something called glands in the body? Absolutely. Do they produce hormonal energy? Absolutely. But is it this spiritual cosmic energy where you're able to call the orishas down? No. That's vain deceit. You still trying to serve yourself rather than give the glory to the Creator. The thing is what's hard about that? I want to give honor and glory and all praise to my ancestors. Why? Well, your ancestors gave praise to the Creator. Your forefathers. The reality is you ain't got to even say that, because you honor your ancestors by doing and fulfilling what they already started. That's the honor. That's the honor in it. You don't have to say, I'm going to give all praises to my ancestors and my spiritual gods. Yeah, they rested with the Father. Your black ass trying to get there. You try to rest with them. Yeah, they good right now. You the one right now going through hellfire. And probably for what they ass did. Oh, you shouldn't give it honor. What you give honor for sin? Yeah. He said, just put it like this. You go to heaven and I'm not there. Write this down. All right, let's keep going. So through vain deceit.
After the traditions of men.
After tradition, offering offerings to your ancestors. Tapping into your divine self. Those are traditions of men. Straight up. Come on.
After the rudiment of the world, and not after Mashiach.
Come on.
For in him dwelleth all the fullness of the Godhead body.
So all that stuff you're trying to do is already in the Messiah. You trying to astral project yourself like goddamn what's his name? Right. But what's the dude name? Toy Story. Buzz Lightyear. You trying to buzz your ass up in the universe. When we see people like Enoch don't have to do all that. Because the reality is he had, you want to use spiritual God, he had an angel walking and protecting him through that world, because man could not enter into that world alone. You could not enter into that world alone. So you sitting there trying to astral project yourself to Africa and Europe. Right along while you sitting there, while you sitting there floating, something attaching their ass to you. Here we go. Yes. We have found somebody. Y'all ever seen the movie Insidious? When I was in the world, yeah. What was one of the things them things kept trying to do? When somebody entered to that dream world, what was one of the things they tried to do? They tried to go with him. They tried to go right back with him to the natural world. And it happened to the last little lady in the end. She went, her little old ass went in there. Some came out with her and possessed her. Wow. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Then I ain't know that. I would see it again.
They got another one.
But the point, I only saw the first one. That's it. But the point is that you're going into a realm that you really have no power of your own in. Anytime you see our ancestors go into that world, anytime somebody went into that world of spirituality, like in that spiritual world, there were always an angel. He said, what? I've given angels what? Charge over you. You had to have somebody guiding you, and not of your own will, but you were called to go into that world. Therefore, you got access and protection to enter that world. Because now once you go into that world, you're seen. You're not just seen by the good spirits, but the bad too. So you sitting there really trying to eat on strong meat in that world when you can't even understand yourself in this world. You're trying to literally get this powerful spiritual access on your own when you don't even know how to piss correctly. Don't know how to tie your shoes correctly. Don't know how to get out the bed correctly. Don't know how to wash dishes correctly.
That's why I'm tapping into a whole nother reality.
Yeah. Like you doing that type of stuff and you can't even do the prioritize things here in the natural realm. And you think the Satan don't know that? You think that those spirits don't know that you out of order out here? They just waiting for you to do something stupid. Yeah, come on, bring your little ass in here. Come on, we've been waiting. Huh? Bro, so I'm talking about. But that's what this new age religion teaches. Go ahead, go to spiritual world. Go ahead, go deep. Go ahead. Dive deep into yourself. Sit in this posture. Use mudras and hand signs. Access. You know them things is literally gates. Those things are literal gates to get access into you. Like, and people want to tap into the keys of Solomon. Like, bro, do you know that's one of the divine blueprints of the Masonic order? They use symbolism to open gates and try to control demons. Real talk. Yeah, keys of Solomon. That's how but if you want to be honest, that's how he got caught up. He was tapping into stuff. He had got this divine wisdom and power and got too full of himself with his strange women. And started tapping into stuff he shouldn't have got into. And the thing that he used to have power over started to have power over him. You're not stronger than no spirit on your own. You're not. You need a divine power to protect and guide you through these things. If that's the case, Israel could have went to the land of Canaan without Yahweh. If that's the case, he wouldn't have told Joshua or Ezra, cut some of these men off. Because if you have too many of them, they're going to start taking the power. They're going to think it was by their own hand when it's me. Anyway, let's finish. So verse 10. So through him, you had the dwelling in him is the fullness of the Godhead bodily. Come on.
And ye are complete in him.
Remember, God means to be completely nourished. Has Yah completely nourished all of us? I'm asking. Are you completely nourished? So y'all complete. Are you completely nourished? Have you been completed through Yah? Has your nourishment period ended? Right. So that means we still what? Developing. We're still considered, for some of us, uncircumcised and unskilled in the word of righteousness. So we shouldn't even be tapping into getting anything new until we were able to master these things and have the wisdom and experience of discerning things, good and evil. Come on.
And ye are complete in him, which is the head of all principality and power.
You don't need to go nowhere else. He's the head of all that stuff. He's the head of all that stuff. You don't need to go nowhere. And believe it or not, all things, good and evil, recognize Yah's word. And if you really want to go so deep, but yet so simple, if Yah's word wasn't so true, why is even the highest power of government trying to ban his word? If the new age stuff y'all doing was so deep, why they ain't trying to ban that?
Legislation to try to stop abortion book written by man. They should
Right.
have much authority.
Right. Why ain't the New Age concept and doctrine being shut down like that?
Right.
Because they know, just like the heathens back then knew, if we can get them to sin, it will prolong us on this earth.
Yeah.
Come on.
Verse 11. In whom also ye are circumcised with the circumcision made without hands,
Come on.
and the putting off the body of the sins of the flesh by the circumcision of Mashiach.
Hallelujah. So this is the last one. So this is called the charge of those who walk with Yah. Just to wrap it up. This is the charge of those who walk with Yah. I'll read it. You good out. So it says, furthermore, then we beseech you, brethren, and exhort you by the Adonai Yahushua, that as ye have received of us how ye ought to walk and please Yah. So he used the prophets, right? He used these Moshe King, right? He used the apostles to teach us how to please Yah, right? And how we should walk in Yah. Because remember, we babes, therefore we don't even know how to walk yet. We don't even know how to crawl yet. We're just babes. So it says, so ye would abound. We go again. So ye would abound more and more. For ye know what commandments we gave you by Yehoshua HaMashiach. But this is the will of Elohim, even your set apartness or sanctification, that ye should abstain from fornication. All right, this ain't just natural fornication, but this is also what? Spiritual fornication. That every one of you should know how to possess his vessel with sanctification and honor. Ooh-wee. Not in the lust of consumptuousness, even as the Gentiles which not God, or which not know God. That no man go beyond and defraud his brother by any matter, because that the Lord is the avenger of all such. So was he just the avenger of Israel? He's the avenger of all those who have been wrong. So if you think you're going to go out here and wrong an innocent Gentile, and you think there ain't going to be no consequence for that, because all of it, did not Paul say he's not just the God of us, but he's the God of all? Okay. So he said, as we have also forewarned you and testified, for Elohim have not called us unto uncleanliness, but unto holiness. He therefore that despiseth not God, but despiseth not man, but Elohim, who also have given unto us his Holy Spirit. But as touching brotherly love, ye need not that I write unto you. Meaning this, like we obviously got a certain love for each other, right? I think that just come natural. So he's not necessarily dealing with that. He's trying to deal with us how that love should actually look. We should not be looking at love as abstract anymore, but we should be looking at it as concrete. Y'all follow me? He's giving us the principles on how to deal with each other and how we, dealing with Yah's creation, we please him. So he says this. Indeed, we have verse 10. Indeed, yes, please.
Because what we don't understand is that we don't know how Yah loves, predicated on our mentality and our feelings and our emotions.
Right.
You actually love your brother. You have the thought when you say, man, I should do this, but the word tells me to do this.
Yep.
You get it?
Mm-hmm.
Literally saying, I'm going to show how Yah loves this person. I'm responding to his way of loving.
Yep.
Because how many times do we think about, man, I should say this, but Yah says a soft answer turns away wrath.
Yep.
You see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He said, don't reward evil for evil.
Right.
Right? So we can say, man, you know what? We can play, we can do like, me and Kanaka were suggesting this, that play. Going back and forth about each other's numbers, whatever. Right? Here's funny. But let's say if the brother's really sensitive about what he says, and he says something, I know he has a sensitivity that's great about, he has an insecurity about something specific about himself.
Mm-hmm.
And he says something, and I'm going to go for the jugular.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And I say, man, oh, you just gave, I've been waiting to say this about you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
I've been waiting to say this. Oh, boy, you done gave me clearance.
Mm-hmm.
Now, so I'm going to go in for the attack.
Right.
I just
Facts.
See what I'm saying? Because I use the opportunity
Right.
to hurt my brother, to harm my brother, knowing that this is a fragile spot or a fragile place for him.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I mean? What I did is, I used as an evil, perceived evil. I've been waiting for you to say that.
Right.
So now I can render evil for evil.
Facts.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Which now, what am I showing? I don't love you.
Right.
Because I would intentionally set out to hurt you.
Right.
I'm murdering my brother at that point.
Mm-hmm.
See?
Mm-hmm.
So when we can easily say things, and even if we do it in the sake of being safe, I'm being honest, or I just speak my mind.
Right.
If you just speaking your mind, then you ain't speaking the mind of Christ. You can't love
There it
your
is.
brother.
There it is. Yep. I'm
You
just
don't
speaking
love
on
him.
mine.
I'm speaking my mind. Okay.
There it is.
Well, there it is right there.
Mm-hmm.
You don't got the mind of Christ.
Right.
Well, you know what I'm saying? Christ ain't gonna love you. He ain't gonna say that.
Mm-hmm.
He ain't gonna bring a reproach. He ain't gonna reward you for you.
Right. Okay. Hallelujah. So we have verse 10. And it says, and indeed, ye do it toward all the brethren which are in all Macedonia. But we beseech you, brethren, that ye increase more and more. So here you go. Through Christ, we supposed to, even the standard, we supposed to go higher than the standard. That's why we can look at the Pharisees and Sadducees, right? They was doing the bare minimum. They were doing the standard to a degree. But what did Mashiach say? He said that your righteousness should exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. So you're supposed to go to higher heights. You're not supposed to stay on a natural level. That's why Paul opened up and said, although I'm not in the flesh, I come to you in the spirit. Because he was in a place of understanding. I now need to deal with y'all from a spiritual place. You understand that? So he said, it said, but that ye increase more and more. Verse 11. Watch this. Ooh-wee. He said that ye study to be quiet. Woo-hoo! That you study to be quiet and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we have commanded you. See, in a tribal setting, you should not be so dependent that you become a liability. Remember, this is an interdependent culture where I should not feel like it's such a weight on me because you cannot carry yourself. That's why I had y'all do that exercise. Y'all said y'all felt exhausted. Y'all felt stressed out. Cash, you feel like you can produce stress and anxiety. You feel like your body is getting weary. You feel tension because that's what happens when you become a burden. That's what happens when you come into a tribal setting when the standard is high and you become a liability. You become a stress. You become a tension on people. You make people exhausted dealing with you. And at the end, you, because you can't seem to get a hold of yourself, can actually at the end cause division. And our master said, mark them who cause division. Mark them. Cut them off at the root. Because if you do not cut them off at the root, it will make the whole body sick. Why do y'all think when it got really gritty in the Old Testament, boy, it was sitting in, they was like, hey, oh no, grab your straps. We got to find out who did this. We ain't trying to go through another 40 years. Nah, we got to remove that quick. Joshua's on that. I'm burning you, your family. Damn it, I'm burning your tent. Cleanse Israel right now. Because they understood it. You kept it there too long, it will start to produce. Bro, it's just like fungi. You leave it there long enough, it will start to produce itself and start to cloud everything else and rotten everything. You become a fungus and a cancer in the camp. Because you cannot hold your own weight. You have not become interdependent, but now you are solely dependent. I'm telling you, this culture has a high standard if you really live it. It has a high standard. It has a high standard, and when it comes to the criteria, I'll be honest with you, there's a lot of people walking together that should not be walking together. And for the name and sake of Israel, they're doing it. But this is look at the fruit of that, though. Look at the actual, how many communities can we actually name that's on one accord? Like really Hamashiach on one accord. I could probably name, I can't even name a handful.
Last question. How many stones do you hear in the Torah? Stones.
Stony?
Yeah, get the stone.
Well, stoning like I say the Torah and the prophets. How many do you hear about?
Not too many.
Yeah, not too many. I was saying I can't.
Attention, your
Yeah.
battery is running
Yeah.
low.
Yeah.
Please plug in the power
So,
adapter
right,
now.
the whole nation was full of sin.
Yep.
The whole nation was full of sin. So none of them could lawfully stone anybody.
Right.
Everybody.
But you will hear how idolatry was proliferating,
Yep.
right?
Mm-hmm.
You hear about how much boredom and forsaking of the fatherless and the widow
Mm-hmm.
was that.
Mm-hmm.
You hear that being mentioned frequently.
Yep.
But you rarely heard of any stones happen or any real righteous judgment where Israel ever really wanted to purchase it.
Right.
It wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So sin was abounding.
Sin was abounding. We was not abounding in Yah. Telling you, it's black and white. It's as simple and plain as it comes. They ain't no sitting there explaining it. Like, it ain't gonna be sitting, well, yeah, but what about this? I even allow my word to be manifested to you even in your captivity. Thousands of years after you got kicked out the land. Thousands of years after you got kicked out the land, I still allow my word to manifest to you in your captivity.
I let you capture free.
Make it things of their own. And because you didn't have spiritual eyes, they convinced you that they was that goddamn smart to make a book like this.
Right.
Hey, I really sat there and thought about this the other day. I said, there is no way you can convince me that this heathen made this book. There ain't no way possible. I'm not that smart. And I know for damn sure he ain't that smart. I know for damn sure he ain't that smart to make a book like this. You got to be there to make something like that. When you really understand the word for what it's, boy, you got to be profound on a whole nother level. I don't know no man on this earth that's profound.
It's too complex.
Yeah. It's too perfect. It's way too perfect.
I mean, we're going through the lesson, right? To the left edge. Every letter has a revelation,
Mm-hmm.
let alone for them to come together and actually be encoded when you bring them together. They have a whole nother meaning when you bring them together. Then when you form a sentence,
Bro. Unbelievable.
it's a whole nother language.
Unbelievable, man. Yeah, let's wrap this up. So it said, and to do your own business and to work with your own hands as we command. Verse 12, that ye may walk honestly toward them that are without. Is this Torah? And that they may lack nothing. Ooh-wee. So it's, y'all look at this camera on right now. But I'm going to say it like this. If one is being truly led or being obedient to Yah's word, you should be able to look at everybody in the camp and nobody lack nothing. I'm going to say it again. If one is truly obedient to Yah's word, Because I believe his word is true. And I believe when he said, if you follow his commandments, that you should be prosperous and have great success. There should be nobody lacking in your camp if you truly following Yah. It ain't Yah, and it is word. It's the people if there's lacking. And I'm not talking about natural resources. I'm talking about spiritual resources. I'm talking about truly understanding how to properly put Yah's word in true application. So it says this. Verse 13. But I will have not you be ignorant, brethren, concerning them which are asleep, that ye sorrow not, even as others which have no hope. For we believe that Yahushua died and rose again. Everybody believe that, right? Even so them also which sleep in Yahushua will God bring with him. Here we go again, Gimel. So we shouldn't have to work so hard to try to bring somebody, right? Because we know it's Elohim who gonna what? Bring them. All you got to do is either be the one who plants the seed or the one who's supposed to water it. But who gets the increase? Yeah. So it says this. Verse 15. For this we say unto you by the word of Elohim, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Adonai shall not prevent them which are asleep. Huh? Meaning you shouldn't be getting in the way of anybody's work. You understand? You shouldn't stop somebody who's trying to seek Yah. You understand? Nor should you try to force somebody. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Verse 16. For the Adonai himself, good gosh, is right there. For the Adonai himself shall descend from heaven with a shout, with the voice of the archangel, and with the trumpet Elohim. And the dead in Hamashiach shall rise first. Then we which are alive and remain shall be caught up together with them in the clouds to meet the Adonai in the air. And so shall we ever be with the Adonai. Wherefore, comfort one another with these words. So I'm going to tell you this, brothers and sisters, as a heavens and earth witness on this day. It is in our agreement and obedience that we ourselves shall meet the Adonai in the air. It is through our obedience to his Torah and his word where we find comfort and peace. And I'm telling you, mark my words, if you find yourself in discomfort, disbelief, or insecurity in Yah, or even those around you, I promise you this is not Yah or his word, it is you. It is on your belief or agreement that you find, what we talk about, peace, right? You found peace. Find peace and comfort, even in the midst of a wilderness, even in the midst of discomfort, and even in the midst of our captivity. Do we find comfort when we are in Yah? Hallelujah.
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 So with that being said, that's the lesson, y'all. That is the lesson. So anybody got any questions? Any comments, concerns? What you got from it? Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Yeah. So with that being said, for the listening audience, we appreciate everybody who had tuned in. We pray that y'all got a revelation from Gimel, and I'm telling y'all, get to the language. Again, I'm not saying it's a salvation issue. I do believe that you can get help in your salvation, but understanding how Yah truly called us to be in him and walk with him. And that's what Gimel really means, is to be in agreement with your brothers and sisters and walk with Yah. We read the testimonies of Enoch, the testimonies of Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. We read the testimonies of the disciples, apostles, and the prophets. But at the end of the day,
Attention, your battery is running low. Please plug in the power adapter now.
at the end of the day, we have to live our testimony. You know,
Attention,
y'all forbid.
your battery is running low. Please plug in the power adapter now.
Okay. Y'all forbid that anything should happen to us, right? But will you leave a testimony behind that people can believe in and actually learn from and grow from? Will you have the testimony of Solomon when he fell to witchcraft and idolatry? Or will you have the testimony of Enoch, who was translated to Yah and walked with Yah? You can read these testimonies all day, but at the end of the day, it is your testimony that counts. So with that being said, we say shalom, shalom to the family. Make sure y'all please subscribe, like, comment, and share the videos and the channel. Again, if y'all have any questions, be sure to email us if you're interested in baptism or immersion. Make sure y'all email us. But with that, we say shalom, shalom, family.
Shalom, shalom.